return to the foreign trade center. Relationships also have a time limit. Using them later won't have the same effect. Although your brother has used family resources, he also bears the responsibility of protecting our family. If anything happens, he is the first to step up. Dad knows you are straightforward and may not approve of some things. But our country is a society based on relationships. This has been passed down for thousands of years and can't be changed. Is there really so much fairness in the world? The idea of equality is only relative. People are born different. You were born into the Su family, living a comfortable life without lacking anything. Some are born in poor mountain areas, where even a full meal is a luxury. Everyone wants to climb higher, but resources are limited. Dad is not a saint. Before making decisions, I must consider the future of the Su family. Your personality is not as steady as your brother's, so I often only discuss things with him. I admit I should have done better. No matter what, I should have talked to you about some decisions first. Don't worry, after you graduate from college, I will make sure you get a job you desire. This was the first time Su Tingda spoke to Su Yifang like this, and Su Yifang was a bit surprised. He listened quietly and quickly replied, "Dad, there's no need. I'm really okay with my life now. I'm also grateful to my brother for taking on the family responsibilities, allowing me to be so free." This was true. Without Su Yicheng supporting them, he wouldn't have been able to transition to being a factory manager or even go to college.
You don't need to worry about my job.
After I graduate, I plan to work with my uncle. I can't waste this great opportunity. Just wait for me and my uncle to revive the Su family. All right, then work well with your uncle, Su Tingda said. This could truly be an opportunity. Even if it didn't work out in the end, he was prepared to protect them. Your mother and I have discussed it. Family resources will lean towards your brother, but I will give you a bit more money. No need. I don't need more money. We can split it evenly. Su Yifang waved his hand. If I need money, I can earn it myself. My brother and his wife have fixed salaries. How much can they have with kids to raise?
Shutin Deshmail.
Although his younger son seemed carefree, he was sincere and kind-hearted. You will also have to raise kids in the future, Su Tingda chuckled.
Shudifan.
He really had no plans to get married anytime soon. He remembered the last time he went out with Lu Chongjing, who had only 82 cents to his name, and it made him uneasy. Thinking about getting married in the future and having to hand over money to his wife, leaving him with just a couple of dollars, made him feel that being single was better. Isn't being single nice? Why would he want someone to manage his life? Seeing how Lu Chongjing was struggling under his sister's control, despite being a high-ranking officer with no money, Su Yifang felt sympathetic. Shouldn't we help Lu Chongjing? If he gets promoted, it would make things easier for my sister. Su Tingda waved his hand. He doesn't need help. With his military achievements, it's just a matter of time before he gets promoted. It wasn't that they were unwilling to help. He simply didn't need it. Just give him a little support. The difference between getting promoted this year and 10 years from now is significant. That won't happen. He should be promoted soon. It's just that Commander Su is holding him back.
Why?
Isn't Commander Su close to an in-law? Why isn't he helping Lu Chongjing's father, but instead holding him back? Do you think it's easy to have a connection with Commander Su? With that relationship, every promotion Lu Chongjing gets will be closely watched. He can't afford to make any mistakes. Besides, Lu Chongjing's stability is also good for an in-Li's future in the military. Commander Su values both kids and is very careful. He won't allow any rumors about them getting ahead through connections. After hearing this, Su Yifang silently shed a tear for Lu Chongjing. It wasn't easy for him. Commander Su values him a lot. His future won't be bad, Su Tingda said. Lu Chongjing was indeed capable, and marrying a daughter from the Su family wouldn't be a loss. Since they were discussing this tonight, Su Tingda got up, took out a savings book from his briefcase, and handed it to Su Yifang. This money is for you. As you work with your uncle, you'll need some capital. When you need money, you'll have it. Su Yifang took it and opened it to find a savings book with 50,000 yuan in his name. He didn't hesitate at all and accepted it. He really needed the money. Just a few days ago, he heard from Fa Ge that someone was selling a house, and he wanted to check it out. If the price was right, he would buy it. Following his sister's lead was a good idea. The 2 houses his sister bought last year would come in handy this year. Consider this a loan from you guys. I'll pay you back once I earn money, Su Yifeng said. You will eventually get it back. Think of this as an advance, Su Tingda replied.
Don't.
You and Mom are still young. Why split the inheritance so early? Wait until you're old, and maybe by then, I won't even want this 50,000 yuan.
Ha ha ha.
Su Yifeng imagined himself being wealthy in the future and laughed out loud.
Shutinde.
This kid really doesn't know how to speak. The next day, the whole family got up to work around 4 or 5 in the morning. When it was almost time, those who needed to go to school went, and those who needed to work did the same. Su Tingqian had classes in the morning and could only go to work in the afternoon, so Su Tingda helped deliver things to the train station. And En and Lele had no training schedule for today, so they went to the train station to help Mo Yurong. With the 2 little ones helping, Mo Yurong found it much easier. Although they were small, the 2 kids worked quickly and counted money efficiently. Aside from their height making it hard to reach some things, they were just like adults in every other way. At first, Mo Yurong worried they might make mistakes with the money. But soon, she realized they not only counted correctly, but also did it quickly. There were times when she hadn't finished counting, and Lele had already given the total to the customers. Moreover, the 2 kids were good-looking. Lele was already a handsome little boy, smiling sweetly. When passengers arrived or left, he would attract them to the small shop. Surprisingly, he managed to draw in quite a few women customers. At noon, Su Yun came by and was impressed to see that more than half of the items had already sold. He praised the 2 kids, especially Lele. In the afternoon, Su Yun also joined in attracting customers. Thanks to the efforts of these 2 noticeable kids, what was supposed to be a full day's worth of sales was nearly done by mid-afternoon. That evening, with 3 trains arriving, Su Tingqian rode a tricycle back to get more supplies. Because they were short 1 bun yesterday, Zhang Zhen observed everything closely today, even though he appeared calm. There were no issues all day, but just before closing, one of the helpers secretly took a bun and hid it in her apron while counting the items. To ensure cleanliness, the Su family provided each helper with a white cotton apron. At the end of the day, they would wash and hang them up to dry for the next day. Zhang Zhen followed her and caught her red-handed when she transferred the bun to her bag. I'll let you keep this bun, but you won't be coming back after today's pay, he said. Sister Ma, the helper, was already very nervous. Upon hearing Zhang Zhen's words, she immediately knelt down, crying, Director Zhang, please don't fire me. If I lose this job, my whole family will starve. I didn't mean to take it. I just needed one more. Through her cries, Zhang Zhen asked a few more questions and understood the situation. Sister Ma's husband had an accident at work last year, losing his hand to a machine. Normally, this would be a work-related injury, and the factory would provide compensation. However, the accident happened because he was slacking off during work hours. The accident not only cost him his hand but also caused significant losses for the factory, so there was no compensation. To make matters worse, a new factory manager had just started and wanted to tighten things up, using this incident as an example. Her husband had his salary cut in half for 2 years to cover the losses. Naturally, this left them struggling financially, especially since he was already assigned to a lower-paying job after the accident. To add to their troubles, Sister Ma's mother-in-law fell ill at the beginning of the year, worsening their situation. They had drained their savings and were now in debt. Now, they couldn't spare a single penny, and their food and coal supplies were running low, with 2 weeks left until her husband's paycheck. If it weren't for Su Tingqian needing her for work and paying daily, Sister Ma wouldn't know what to do. She spent her last $3 on coal and planned to use today's pay to buy food tomorrow. For lunch these past few days, she had been eating 1 bun and saving another to take home. But with 5 people in her family, 1 bun was simply not enough. Thinking they made hundreds of buns a day, she figured 1 less wouldn't be noticed, so she decided to take 1 to get through the next couple of days until she could buy food. She never expected to be caught today. I only took 2, Director Zhang. I'll pay you back. Please don't fire me. Sister Ma cried. I sympathize with your situation, but that doesn't justify stealing. There are countless ways to solve your problem, like asking for an advance on your pay or borrowing a few buns. You could have bought them with today's pay. Instead, you chose to steal. You thought you could get away with it, but once someone steals, it often leads to more. I can't keep you here. Director Zhang, I won't do it again. I really have no choice. Once I buy food tomorrow, I won't take anything again. A person's principles and boundaries are important. Life will always present challenges. Some people would rather starve than steal, Zhang Jin said, waving his hand. Now go before I have to report you to the police. When Sister Ma heard he might call the police, she was so frightened that she stopped crying and hurriedly left. After Sister Ma left, Zhang Jin asked another helper, Sister Miao, did you know she was stealing buns these past few days? Sister Miao jumped in surprise and shook her head vigorously. Director Zhang, I really didn't know. If I had, I would have reported her. I swear on the portrait of our great leader, if I knew and didn't report it, let me be punished. Zhang Jun. All right, you can go home now. Come back to work tomorrow. Okay, thank you. Sister Miao sighed in relief, glad she wasn't fired. Though her family wasn't struggling, who wouldn't want to earn some extra money? She never expected that the seemingly capable Sister Ma was facing such difficulties and would resort to stealing. You really can't judge a book by its cover. That evening, when Su Tiqian and the others returned from the shop, Zhang Jin told him about the incident. Tingqian, while we may not have the same benefits as a factory, $2 a day is still decent pay. We need to be careful about who we hire.
Right.
I was too hasty that day, just wanting to find help quickly. Luckily, you were here, Uncle Zhang. Otherwise, if she hadn't been caught, who knows how much worse it could have gotten. Let's do this, Uncle Zhang. I'll find a few more people to interview in the next couple of days. You can help me assess them, and we'll hire 2 suitable ones. Zhang Jun had been a manager his whole life, so he had a keen eye. It was perfect for him to be the interviewer. Let's bring in more people and train them first. When we need help later, we'll have people to rely on. The Su family doesn't have much of a foundation in Yangcheng, so we need to quickly develop our own team. He is in business for several reasons. He has an interest in it, he wants to revive the Su family, and he wants to provide a better life for his family. It's not his goal to have everyone working tirelessly. But since this is just starting, the studio isn't open to the public, so hiring some people isn't a problem. The small shop is visible, so for now, only family members can work there. When the time is right, they can gradually switch to hired help, stepping back to focus on more profitable tasks. Zhang Jin nodded, and if Su Tingqian finds suitable candidates, they can come for interviews at the studio. In the afternoon, one of the main professors, Professor Yen, was going to an academic seminar, so the German class was let out early. Su Mo didn't have much clothing on Gaudi Street, so she thought about going back to the staff quarters to gather some things and take a few for the little ones. When she got home, she ran into Wang Suimei. Su Mo, where have you been these days? I haven't seen you for a while. I went to help my parents, Su Mo replied. Wang Suimei placed a hand on her chest. You scared me. I thought you were moving away. Having a neighbor like Su Mo is much better than the previous one. If she moved, Wang Suimei would miss her. If the next neighbor is like the last one, how would she manage? Life is already tough enough. Su Mo smiled. My husband, Lu Changzheng, is still in the army. Where could I move to? That's true, Wang Suimei said, then lowered her voice to ask, did your parents really open that shop? After Mo Yurong quit her job and stayed in the staff quarters for a while, Wang Suimei saw her learning to make various pastries. Sometimes, when she visited to chat, she would ask Mo Yurong a few questions. Although Wang Suimei doesn't have much education, she had the courage to become a middleman 2 years ago and quickly caught on. She directly asked Mo Yurong if she wanted to sell those items. The Su family's business has official approval, so there's no need to hide it. When asked, Mo Yurong openly confirmed it. Of course, today is already the 3rd day. Then has anyone reported you? Wang Suimei wondered. If no one is watching, she could sell some things herself. Waiting for old Zheng to arrange a job for her would take too long. Sister Wang, our shop is government approved with official documents. We're not afraid of being reported, Su Mo explained. Before opening the shop, they had informed all relevant units. Although they weren't afraid of reports, it could still be a hassle if someone came to check. So, they built good relationships with the relevant units beforehand, ensuring that even if a report came in, it wouldn't be processed. Really? You can open a private shop now? Wang Suimei was overjoyed. Su Mo, tell me how to get that document. I want old Zheng to get one for me too. Not yet. Ours is a special approval for a national trial. That document is hard to get. You have to go to the capital to get it approved by the higher-ups. Wang Suimei. What a letdown. She didn't understand the national trial, but she heard that she would have to go to the capital for the document, which seemed out of reach. Old Zheng definitely wouldn't ask for her. Feeling disheartened, Wang Suimei went home. Just wait. Her eldest son would graduate from middle school this year. Once he joins the army, she can become a middleman without affecting his future. After Su Mo packed her things, she went to Gaudi Street with Lu Chongjing after he finished work. On the way, Su Mo took a few bags of soybeans and flour from her space and placed them in the back seat. These two items are used up quickly and need to be replenished every few days. After receiving 50,000 yuan in compensation from the government, Su Tingqian kept 20,000 for himself and gave 30,000 to Su Mo for purchasing raw materials. Half a month ago, Su Mo had taken Lu Chongjing to nearby communes to mill the rice and wheat she had harvested, which she stored in her space. Based on their current consumption, it should last the studio for about 4 to 5 months. When they arrived at the studio, Su Yuan came to help move the items into the warehouse. After checking the quality, Su Yuan asked, "Little sister, where did you buy these?" They looked just as good as the special supply. He had just tasted a bit of flour, and it had a subtle sweetness even when raw. Chongzhen got them through connections, Su Mo replied. They had agreed that she would say he obtained them since the special team is mysterious, and even Su Tingda doesn't know much about it. Will this affect him? Old Lu is already struggling. He shouldn't be demoted because of them. It won't. They want to sell things, and we're paying for them. It's normal market trade.
No one will talk about it.
That's good, Su Yuan said. Initially, he had suggested buying the shortfall from Brother Fa, but the quality of the grain from Brother Fa was indeed not as good as what his sister bought. Their business is doing well partly because of the high quality of the flour and soybeans they use. Today is only the 3rd day, and they already have returning customers. He had thought that business would slow down, but if there are many repeat customers nearby, that might not be the case. Today, several train attendants came and filled their military water bottles with soy milk, buying 10 buns and steamed buns at a time, saying their food was delicious and they would eat it on the train. Although meals are provided on the train, the same flavor can get boring. Those with better conditions often buy local delicacies at stops to satisfy their cravings, especially since long-distance trains can keep them on board for 6 or 7 days. Su Yuan measured that a military bottle could hold 3.5 bowls of soy milk, so he set the price at 1.5 yuan per bottle. They would charge for 3 bowls, and the extra half bowl would be a bonus for buying more. During lunch, Zhang Jun informed everyone that he had fired Ma Dajia. With one less person, the number of buns made tomorrow would definitely decrease. If they couldn't hire someone new by tomorrow, they would have to change their strategy the day after, making more steamed buns and selling fewer buns. Su Tingqian, and I think we should hire a few more people and train them. If we don't need that many right now, we can have them work in shifts. If anyone encounters suitable candidates while coming and going, they should ask around. They couldn't directly post job ads, so they had to use this indirect method. Hearing Zhang Jun say this, Su Mo thought of a candidate, Wang Suimei. She is quite skilled at making pastries, and Su Mo had tasted her food before. It was very good. Having known each other for many years, Su Mo recognized Wang Suimei's character. She is definitely capable and not the type to slack off. Mom, what do you think of Sister Wang? Are you talking about Wang Suimei next door?
Yes.
She seems nice, but would she want to come? She's a military officer's wife, so she might not be interested. They are in business and they know their situation, but to outsiders, they look like they are in the free market, which might not appeal to respectable families. These past few days, when she returned home, the neighbors avoided her. She should be willing. She used to be a middleman, so working with us won't be a burden for her, Sumo said. Wang Suimei was desperate to work. Really? Then Sister Wang is quite open-minded, Mo Yuyong laughed. Why don't you ask her tomorrow? If she's interested, we can have her come by the day after. Okay. So, the plan to invite Wang Suimei was set. With Lele and Sui Yuan attracting customers, the revenue on the third day surprisingly exceeded the first 2 days, reaching 168 yuan. The next day at noon, Su Mo took a tricycle back to the staff quarters and explained the situation to Wang Suimei. Are you serious? Wang Suimei was thrilled. Yes, it's 2 yuan a day, with lunch provided and payment is daily, but I can't guarantee work every day.
Would you be interested?
Absolutely. I'm very interested. This income was similar to what she earned when she first started as a middleman. She didn't need any capital, didn't have to take risks, and wouldn't be exposed to the elements. How could she refuse such a good opportunity? Just wait a moment. I'll change my clothes and come with you, Wang Suimei said, heading to her room. Su Mo stopped her. Sister Wang, don't rush. I have class this afternoon. I'll finish at 5:20. You can wait for me at the university gate, and I'll take you there. You know where the university is, right? Yes, I know. Don't worry, I'll be there on time. Great, see you this afternoon. After discussing everything, Su Mo hurried back to school. In the afternoon, Wang Suimei changed her clothes and rode her bike to wait at the university gate before 5 o'clock. When Su Mo finished class, they went to the studio together. Inside the studio, there were only the necessary tools for making dumplings, and it was newly decorated, looking very clean and tidy. Wow, it's really clean. Su Mo, you really put in a lot of effort to use such a big room just for making buns. On the drying rack, the buns and steamed bread from the afternoon were cooling, and there were at least 200 or 300 of them. Wang Suimei exclaimed, Su Mo, how many buns do you make every day? About 500 or 600. That many? Can you sell them all? Su Mo didn't answer directly. We have a freezer. If we can't sell them all, we can freeze them. This is Grandpa Zhang. He manages the studio. You should register your information with him. Su Mo introduced Wang Suimei to Zhang Zhen. Although she trusted Wang Suimei, the rules set by Grandpa Zhang still needed to be followed, and necessary information had to be recorded. Okay. Grandpa Zhang, do you remember me? I live next to Su Mo, Wang Suimei said, recalling that Zhang Zhen had visited the staff quarters a few times. I remember. Come with me. Zhang Zhen led Wang Suimei away from the studio, asked her some basic questions, explained the work details, and told her to come back the next day to start working. Wang Suimei happily agreed and left with a smile. Earlier that day, Zhang Zhen also hired a woman in her 50s named Aunt Xia, who specializes in Cantonese dim sum, like sticky rice chicken, turnip cake, water chestnut cake, steamed buns, and xiao mai, to add more variety. For now, the studio had 3 helpers, Sister Miao, Wang Suimei, and Aunt Xia. After Wang Suimei left, Su Mo rode her bike to the train station. She planned to watch the shop that evening so her parents could take a break. Wang Suimei's 3 children were all in school. When she left, no one was home, and since she didn't know many characters, she simply left a note saying, out for something. When Zheng Guoxing returned from work, he found the 3 kids watching TV, but Wang Suimei was missing, and it seemed no dinner had been made. Where's your mom? Zheng Guoxing asked his eldest son, Zheng Hongbing. I don't know. She left a note saying she went out. Zheng Hongbing handed the note to Zheng Guoxing. Zheng Guoxing looked at the messy handwriting and crumpled the note, throwing it away. It hurt his eyes to look at it. Is dinner not ready? Zheng Guoxing asked. Zheng Hongbing hesitated, reluctantly getting up. I don't really know how to cook. I was waiting for Mom to come back. It's almost 7.
Who knows where she is?
If you wait for her to come back to cook, we might not eat until 8 or 9. Stop watching TV. You all hurry to the cafeteria and see what's left. Bring something back to eat. Zheng Guoxing turned off the TV and gave Zheng Hongbing $1 to get food. Around 7:30, Wang Suimei returned, and the four of them were already eating the cafeteria food they had brought back. Since they went late, there wasn't much left, just a mix of everything. You've already eaten? That's good. I was worried you would be hungry. Where have you been? It's so late, and you're just coming back, Zheng Guosheng said darkly. Wang Tsuemei was in a good mood today and didn't argue with him. I went for a job interview. I'm starting work tomorrow. The organization arranged a job for you? Zheng Guosheng was surprised. That shouldn't happen. If it had, she would have told him. No, waiting for the organization to arrange something could take years.
¿Cómo introduced-me?
She introduced you to a job? What kind of job? Her family opened a shop, and she asked me to help make buns for 2 yuan a day. He had heard about Sumo's small shop from Wang Tsuemei yesterday but hadn't paid much attention.
You can't take that job.
Zheng Guosheng's face darkened further. Can a private shop be run like that? It may seem fine now, but when it comes time for accountability, her family will be in trouble. Hiring people like this is a capitalist approach. If you go, you might be labeled a capitalist and sent away to work in the fields, and it could drag me down too. He wondered why she was so kind and offered a job. It turned out she wanted to pull their family down with her. Wang Tsuemei was unhappy. That shop is approved by the central government. It's a national pilot project, and they are operating legally. How is that capitalist? Besides, their family has people in high positions, university students, and professors. Who isn't respectable? Are they not allowed to do things that you can't? Zheng Guosheng was momentarily speechless, and after a while, he angrily replied, Is it so easy to get a central document? They might be trying to trick you. Wang Tsuemei rolled her eyes at him. You don't have the ability to get one, but they might. Zheng Guosheng was very unhappy about Wang Tsuemei working at Sumo's place. First, it was a private workshop, not a proper job. Although 2 yuan a day seemed like a lot, there were no other benefits, making it not much different from a petty dealer. Second, his wife was making a living under someone else, especially under Lu Chongjing's wife, which made him very uncomfortable. Zheng Guosheng looked like a nice guy who could chat with anyone, but he didn't get along well with Lu Chongjing. He would never admit he was jealous of someone younger and more successful who had a good wife. Instead, he would boast about not mingling with restless young people and secretly tried to undermine Lu Chongjing. His jealousy of Lu Chongjing stemmed from the fact that they came from similar backgrounds. Both were rural kids with no connections. Normally, Lu Chongjing's position should be the same as his. Yet, Lu Chongjing was lucky, younger than him by several years, but with a much higher rank. Lu Chongjing didn't pay attention to Zheng Guosheng's petty thoughts. In the face of real ability, all schemes were meaningless. Besides, he was busy with work and often not at home, only having casual nodding acquaintances with most people in the neighborhood. Moreover, Lu Chongjing looked down on Zheng Guosheng. He had no respect for those who sacrifice their family's interests for personal fame. If you go to work, who will cook at home? Are we supposed to eat at the cafeteria every day? What if your earnings aren't enough for food? Zheng Guosheng said, trying to stop Wang Tsuemei from working at Sumo's place. It won't affect cooking. I start work at 8 in the morning and finish at 5 in the afternoon. I can make breakfast and dinner. The kids can eat at the cafeteria for lunch, which is already what they do. Eating at the cafeteria only costs a little, Wang Tsuemei replied. Don't worry, Mom. We'll save money eating at the cafeteria, said their younger son, Zheng Hongxing. The cafeteria has many dishes, while Mom only makes one, so there's no choice. What's wrong with eating at the cafeteria? After their aunt started school, they eat there every day, and no one in the neighborhood complains. You may not miss us, but our life isn't easy. If I go to work, I can earn an extra 50 or 60 yuan a month. Isn't that good? Then your salary can go for household expenses, and mine can be saved. By the end of the year, we could save 600 or 700 yuan. When Hongbing grows up, he will need money to get married. Zheng Hongbing blushed. Mom, I'm still young. I won't get married so soon. Besides, when I join the army and get a stipend, I'll save up for my own wedding. Wang Tsuemei smiled. Fine. You save for your wedding, and I'll save to buy meat and clothes for you. Are you set on going? Zheng Guosheng squinted. Yes. This time, she wouldn't let him ruin her plans. Okay, But if something happens, don't blame me for distancing myself from you. Wang Tsuemei waved her hand. Don't worry. If anything happens, I won't need you to distance yourself. I'll cut ties first. Zhang Guosheng angrily slammed his chopsticks down and went into the room. Wang Tsuemei shrugged it off, went to the kitchen, got some bowls and chopsticks, and ate a little. However, the food they brought back was not much, and after finishing, the three kids looked at her eagerly, clearly still hungry. With her new job, Wang Tsuemei was in a good mood and didn't hold back. She went to the kitchen and cooked some noodles for the three kids, frying an egg for each. The next day, Wang Tsuemei woke up early, made breakfast, and hurriedly rode her bike to work. When she arrived, Su Mo and the others were just getting ready to leave for school. Why are you here so early, Sister Wang? I had nothing to do at home, so I came over early. After parking her bike, Wang Tsuemei washed her hands outside, then entered the studio, putting on the work outfit Zhang Zhen had sent her the day before, ready to start working diligently. The two little ones had schoolwork, so they followed Lu Chongjing back to the team. Time passed quickly, and a week flew by. The small shop's daily sales fluctuated between 160 to 180 yuan. In a big city, where the average salary was only 30 to 40 yuan, this was impressive. The food was delicious, and many customers returned. Anyone who had eaten there would come back to buy again. Now, Director Jean had become a regular, always bringing home steamed buns or a pot of soy milk after work. In his words, their food was not only tasty but also filling. When Su Yuan mentioned this to Su Mo, she thought to herself that it was natural. This was the result of her special ability, which made the food more nourishing and beneficial for the body over time. As the Su family's small shop thrived, the bamboo basket vendors at the train station struggled, especially those selling food, who couldn't compete with the Su family shop. Most of these vendors sourced their goods from the free market. With business declining, they naturally bought less. To support their petty dealers, the free market sent a few people to stir trouble at the small shop. However, it was unfortunate for them that Lu Chongjing was there helping out that day. As someone who had lived on the edge for years, he was very sensitive to hostility and quickly noticed that these people were troublemakers. The leading thug approached, but when he met Lu Chongjing's fierce gaze, he froze in place, feeling his blood run cold. After a moment, one of his lackeys nudged him, snapping him out of it. He hurriedly called his buddies and quickly left. Once they were far away, the leader of the thugs finally breathed a sigh of relief. That man was terrifying, like a wolf. He felt that if he stayed any longer, that man would leap out and tear his throat, drinking his blood. Boss, didn't you tell us to teach them a lesson? Why did we leave? One thug asked. You fool, did you see that man? He's not someone to mess with. He's definitely killed before. If you run into him again, stay far away, or you won't even know how you died. What about the boss?
I'll talk to him.
After returning, the thug reported to their leader, who quickly sent someone to investigate and avoid provoking a dangerous person. He also cursed the petty dealers for being foolish, not even checking the situation and claiming an old woman sold goods every day. Meanwhile, several members of the Revolutionary Committee arrived at the studio, saying someone reported them for engaging in capitalism. Zhang Zhen remained calm and took out a stamped document from the local Revolutionary Committee to show them. The top document was like a sort of authority, something they needed to keep safe and not show to just anyone, to avoid it being torn up by some clueless person. So, when they established local connections, they also got a new document stamped by local authorities. Gentlemen, we are operating legitimately, approved by the state. This stamp is from your Revolutionary Committee office, and Director Ge knows about this. His signature is here too. When the committee members saw it, they realized they had made a big mistake. It was a coincidence that the team leader, who came this time, had just returned from a business trip and was unaware of the situation. Today, upon receiving the report, he immediately brought people over, as engaging in capitalism was a serious issue. After some time, the Revolutionary Committee had become less arrogant, and those still in office were more reasonable. Although this is approved, you should keep a low profile and not be too flashy. Even though it was a misunderstanding, they still had to maintain their authority to avoid giving the public the impression that the Revolutionary Committee had nothing to do. Hiring people to work is inappropriate. Isn't that exploitation? The state trusts you, but you must also be careful not to engage in capitalist practices. Zhang Zhen was already prepared for this statement. Comrade Marx clearly defined the line between small owners and capitalists. He stated that those who employ fewer than 8 workers and directly participate in the production process are intermediaries between capitalists and workers, known as small owners. Only when the number of employees exceeds 8 can one be considered a capitalist who appropriates the surplus value of workers. Our family is directly involved in the production process. Right now, some of us are in school and others are working, so we hired 3 people to help. We don't exploit them. We pay them good wages. They work here from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., earning 2 yuan a day, plus a meal at noon. Their working hours are not longer than those in factories, and our pay is higher than what most factories offer. The group was surprised. They hadn't expected a daily wage of 2 yuan. If they worked a full month, their earnings would surpass what the others made. The small team leader took a look at the capital and saw that it was indeed written that way. Marx was a great man, so if he said it, it must be true. He then turned to Sister Miao and the others, asking, "Is what he said true? If he is exploiting you, let us know, and our committee will support you." The 3 nodded vigorously. "Yes, 2 yuan a day with meat for lunch, and we get paid daily, without any delays. This family is good. They haven't exploited us. Comrades, don't let some jealous people deceive you." "Exactly, comrades. We are doing well here," Wang Suimei said. "They are creating job opportunities for society. It's a good thing. I'm a military family member, and I've been with the army for almost 10 years, hoping the organization would arrange a job for me. But jobs are scarce, and after all these years, nothing has come up. Now that I'm working here and earning money, the organization doesn't have to find me a job anymore, which saves them trouble. Yes, comrades. My husband is the only one earning for our family, and life is tight. Finally, I have a job, and things are a bit better. Who is trying to cut off our livelihood? I'll confront them," Sister Miao added, filled with righteous anger. Aunt Xia started to tear up. "Comrades, my family is struggling. My youngest son is almost 30 and still can't afford to marry. I finally earned some money to help him, and if this job is taken away, it would drive me to despair." The small team leader's mouth twitched. He had only asked a question and sparked such a response. But from the looks of it, these people were definitely not being exploited. "Dear ladies, we're just doing our job. Someone reported this, so we had to come and check. We are reasonable people. Since everything here is legal and in order, you can continue your normal operations." "All right, we'll leave you to your work," the small team leader said before preparing to leave. Before departing, he reminded Zhang Zhen to keep a low profile to avoid others imitating them. Others wouldn't know they had permission from above, and if they copied them, it could lead to trouble. Although Sister Miao and Aunt Xia were nervous, they felt more reassured seeing the committee members leave without finding any issues. They had been somewhat anxious before. After all, this was a private operation. Even though they had been told it was approved by higher authorities, who could be sure they weren't being deceived? Now, it seemed genuine. So, if others asked what they were doing, they could stand tall and say they were doing nothing illegal, as it was allowed by the government. After the small team leader returned, he was called in by his supervisor for a reprimand. He realized that the other party had not only the committee's approval, but also the highest authority's stamp. He broke into a cold sweat, relieved that he hadn't done anything out of line during the visit. Everything was done according to regulations. If he had overstepped, just a small gesture from the other side could have serious consequences for him. The committee was already having a tough time, who was trying to undermine him. He repeatedly examined the complaint letter he received, but couldn't find anything wrong. That evening, Zhang Zhen informed everyone about the committee's inspection. They were not surprised, as they had anticipated such a visit. With all the items they were moving in and out, it was impossible not to attract attention. "I feel like someone has been watching us lately. With so many things here, it's not safe at night without someone guarding it. I'll clear out a room and move in here," Zhang Zhen said. Currently, Everyone lived in the arcade on High Street. Although it wasn't far, it still took a few minutes to walk. At first, it was manageable, but now that they were being watched, they needed to be cautious. I should move over instead. If something happens, Grandpa Zhang, it's not safe for you to be here alone, Sui Yuan said. Lu Changzheng didn't suggest they move in, as his job required him to leave at a moment's notice. He was more worried about his wife being alone here. But Sui Yuan, being alone, could be careless while sleeping, so he needed someone to help him. I heard a few military dogs are being retired from the team. I'll go get 2 and keep them here. Dogs are great for guarding homes, especially retired military dogs. However, in this era, few people could afford to keep dogs. That sounds good. It will make things easier for me at night, Sui Yuan said, relieved that he wouldn't have to be on constant alert. The next day, Lu Changzheng brought back 2 retired military dogs. At that time, most military dogs were East German Shepherds, introduced from the Soviet Union in the 1950s. The 2 dogs were one black and one gray-brown. The black one was named Big Tiger, only 4 years old, but had to retire due to an injury sustained while on duty. The gray-brown one was named Old Eagle, 10 years old, and retired due to age. Both dogs were friendly and appeared gentle, but they were very alert and quite intelligent. Lu Changzheng first gave them commands to recognize people, then taught everyone the daily commands. Lele was very fond of Big Tiger and Old Eagle. After finishing his meal, he sat on the ground, chatting with them, and the dogs responded to him with extra gentleness. Seeing this, Su Mo's eyes sparkled. The child was growing up, and it was time to guide him about his special abilities. The next day, when the 3 ladies arrived at work, they were shocked to see 2 large dogs at Zhang Zhen's home. Zhang Zhen, following Lu Changzheng's instructions, guided the dogs to meet each person one by one. The 3 women noticed that although the dogs were big, they seemed very gentle, which made them less afraid. Wang Suimei reached out to pat one of the dogs and asked Director Zhang, "How did you get 2 such big dogs?" "They're not bought. They're retired military dogs that have served the country," Zhang Zhen explained, hoping to prevent them from thinking these were ordinary dogs that might bite. "Our studio has a lot of stuff, and I'm getting old and can't see well. With these 2 watching, it helps keep any troublemakers away." Thinking about the recent report that brought the committee to their door, the 3 women nodded in agreement. It's a good idea to have a dog around with so much stuff here. In our brigade, we had a theft problem, but ever since we got 2 dogs for the warehouse, there haven't been any issues, Wang Suimei said. Once the 3 women went inside, Zhang Zhen closed the yard gate and let the 2 dogs roam freely in the yard. In the afternoon, a woman peeked through the gate. When Dahu and Laoying saw her, they came out from the shade. Laoying quickly dashed out, grabbed the woman's clothing with its teeth, while Dahu barked loudly to alert Zhang Zhen. The woman, startled by the sudden appearance of the 2 large dogs and feeling one tugging at her clothes, let out a piercing scream. Zhang Zhen heard the commotion and stepped outside, recognizing it was Ma Dajia. He called Laoying back. "What brings you here?" Zhang Zhen asked. After a moment to collect herself, Ma Dajia awkwardly smiled. "When did you get dogs?" She clearly remembered there were none when she visited a few days ago. Zhang Zhen didn't respond but stared at her. "What do you want?" Ma Dajia chuckled nervously. "I just came to have a look." Zhang Zhen waved his hand. "There's nothing to see. If you have no business, please leave." Director Zhang, are you still open for business?" she asked hesitantly. Zhang Zhen shot her a sharp look. "Of course, we're operating legally." It seemed likely that she was the one who reported them a few days ago. Indeed, people without principles are not worth feeling sorry for, no matter how pitiful they seem. Under Zhang Zhen's watchful gaze and the dog's intimidating presence, Ma Dajia left awkwardly. Once she was far enough away, she noticed the 2 holes in her clothing where the dog had bitten. Furious, she thought it was a case of losing more than she gained, but she didn't dare go back to ask Zhang Zhen for compensation. Many people had been keeping an eye on the studio lately, including nearby residents and those who had tried to cause trouble at the train station. The leader of that group had someone inquire about them, but was only told that they had a strong background and to avoid provoking them. He didn't know the specifics, so he instructed his men to keep watch and find out more. Su Chifa was aware that his men were watching, and he wanted to see what the other side was up to, so he told them not to intervene. However, days passed, and the other side just kept watching without taking any action. Having someone watching his territory was unacceptable, so Su Chifa contacted their leader to ask what they wanted. "FAZ, I don't want to do anything. I just want to know who they are," the leader replied. "I don't know exactly, but they have someone powerful above them," Su Chifa said, pointing upward, implying a higher authority. "We can't mess with them." "FAZ, you're not being honest. Knowing they have such a strong background, you should have informed the boss. If my men hadn't been careful, things could have gone wrong." Su Chifa laughed it off, but it did lead to the other side pulling back their people. He then informed Sui Yuan to keep an eye on the situation, as he wasn't sure what the other side's intentions were, and it was best to stay cautious. Since Dahu and Laoing arrived, Lele played with them every day after returning home. Su Mo had previously bought him a soccer ball, and while living in the family compound, he had other friends to play with. Here, he didn't know any other kids, and Anin wasn't keen on playing with him, so he directed the two dogs to join him in kicking the ball. Surprisingly, they played quite well together. Others didn't find it strange, as these were retired military dogs. Dogs that could serve in the military were not ordinary dogs. Plus, they had been specially trained, so they were very smart. One evening, during dinner, Su Yuan served 2 large bowls of rice, added some soup, and included some meat and vegetables for Dahu and Laoing. At that moment, there was no dog food available. In the countryside, dogs typically ate scraps or bones. Being able to eat like humans was already quite a luxury. As Su Yuan placed the bowls down, Lele noticed he had given the bowl with 2 pieces of carrot to Dahu and quickly said, "Uncle, Dahu doesn't like carrots. Laoing does. That bowl should go to Laoing." Su Yuan, hearing this, switched the bowls and asked, "How do you know he doesn't like them?" Since he lived nearby and fed the dogs often, he had noticed. "Dahu told me. He said he doesn't like carrots." Su Yuan laughed. "You little rascal. You understand dog language? That's impressive. Why don't you ask him what he wants to eat tomorrow?" Lele turned to Dahu, who barked twice. Lele then said, "He said he would love a big bone. He hasn't had one to chew on in a while." At that moment, the older folks at the table chuckled. Today, Su Mo and Lu Chongzheng were not around. Lu Chongzheng had gone on a mission a couple of days ago, and Su Mo had a meeting at school that would keep her out late. "I read somewhere that children have pure hearts and can communicate with animals. It seems to be true," Mo Yurong joked. "All right, tomorrow Uncle will get Dahu a big bone," Su Yuan said. They all laughed, not taking it seriously, thinking it was just a child's whimsical idea. After all, in children's books, dogs are always depicted as eating big bones. Only Anin quietly ate her meal, watching Lele with a thoughtful expression. That night, Lele stayed over and slept with Su Yuan. Since the 2 dogs arrived, Lele occasionally slept here. He was articulate and funny, and Su Yuan enjoyed teasing him. With Lele around, the uncle and nephew could chat before bed. In the middle of the night, Su Yuan woke up and, feeling around, realized Lele was missing. Startled, he quickly got up to look for him. As soon as he stepped outside, he found Lele squatting at the front door with the 2 dogs, without any lights on, seemingly up to something. "What are you doing, kid? It's the middle of the night. Why aren't you sleeping?" Hearing Su Yuan's voice, Lele turned around and smiled. "Uncle, I'm eating." Although the lights were off, the moon was bright, and Lele had opened the door. The moonlight illuminated him well enough for Su Yuan to see clearly. From his angle, he saw Lele slowly turn his head, half of his face suspiciously red, holding something red that looked like a heart in his hands, grinning and revealing a mouth full of suspicious red items, saying, "You uncle, I'm eating." Su Yuan was so startled he almost fainted. Su Yuan shouted and quickly ran over to turn on the light, yelling, "Lele, what are you eating?" Both Lele and the dogs were startled by Su Yuan's reaction and stood up, a bit confused. I'm eating dragon fruit." With the light on, Su Yuan saw that Lele was indeed holding a dragon fruit. However, the boy had only peeled a small part of it and was digging in, ending up with juice all over his face. "You little rascal, why didn't you cut it open first? And why are you eating fruit in the dark? Why are you squatting on the floor with the dogs?" Feeling Sui Yuan's fear and anger, Lele looked a bit lost, as if he had done something wrong. He said nervously, I thought Big Tiger and Old Eagle had never eaten dragon fruit, so I wanted to share some with them." Big Tiger and Old Eagle sensed Sui Yuan's mood too, standing protectively in front of Lele, ready to defend him if Sui Yuan tried to do anything. Seeing the helpless child and the vigilant dogs, Sui Yuan let out a sigh and smiled helplessly. His little sister really brought home this bright red fruit, making Lele's mouth look quite alarming. Sui Yuan carefully reached out and ruffled Lele's hair. "Lele, next time you get up at night to eat, remember to turn on the light." "Okay," Lele replied, a bit dazed. He thought it was fine to see without the light. Back at home, when he got up at night to use the bathroom, he didn't turn on the light if he could see. His mom said to save energy when possible.
Lele, I'm sorry.
"Uncle didn't mean to yell at you just now. I just woke up and was a bit startled." A few days ago, Sui Yuan found an old book, Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio, which he couldn't read outside, so he flipped through it before bed. He had been really into it lately. That night, he had just read a scary part about a monster eating hearts, which had startled him. "Come on, let me cut the dragon fruit for you. It's not convenient to eat it whole like that." Sui Yuan took Lele to wash his hands, wiped his face with a towel, and then cut the dragon fruit for him. Seeing that Lele had already eaten half of it, he cut another one into small cubes and gave him some skewers to eat with. "Go ahead and eat. If Big Tiger and Old Eagle want some, you can share a few pieces with them." Since they were protecting their little owner, he decided to forgive them for their earlier disrespect. Lele took a plate of dragon fruit and shared it with Big Tiger and Old Eagle, quickly finishing it together. The next day was Sunday, so and Lele stayed at the studio instead of helping at the shop. At the end of May in Yangcheng, it was already getting hot. The shop was a metal shed with a coal stove, so it was naturally warm. Mo Yulong felt sorry for her two grandsons and didn't let them go since there were many people today. When everyone in the studio got busy and no one was paying attention, Anan walked over to Lele and asked, "What's wrong?" Having grown up together, Anan noticed that Lele seemed off lately, especially today when he looked a bit lost. Lele looked troubled, his little face scrunched up as if he found it hard to speak. Finally, he whispered, "Sister, promise you won't be scared. I think I can understand what Big Tiger and Old Eagle are saying." Lele was a smart kid and knew it was normal for dogs to understand humans, but for a human to understand dogs was not normal. He felt a bit scared and wondered if he was sick. "Sister, do you think I'm sick? Can this be cured? Isn't it good to understand them?" Many people would dream of having such a skill, yet he wanted to get rid of it. It's not bad, but I'm afraid others will be scared of me." That's why he had hinted that he could understand Big Tiger, hoping to see if his grandparents would be frightened. Initially, when he saw them laughing happily, he thought they weren't scared. But last night, he noticed his second uncle seemed very frightened, so he felt uncertain. If his caring second uncle was scared, others would likely be terrified too, and he would have no friends to play with. "Then let's not let others know. We can keep it to ourselves," Anan said. Most ordinary people would fear those with special abilities. "Can Mom and Dad know?" "Yes, they can." "What about Grandpa and Grandma?" "They're older, so let's not tell them to avoid scaring them."
Oh.
"But I already mentioned it yesterday." Lele looked dejected. "They won't believe you. They'll think you're joking," Anan reassured him. "But it seemed like second uncle believed me. He was scared last night." Lele recounted what happened, and Anne's mouth twitched slightly, guessing that Sui Yuan was just startled by Lele eating dragon fruit. "He didn't believe you. He was just scared by you eating dragon fruit."
Huh?
"What's scary about eating dragon fruit?" "Eating dragon fruit isn't scary, but eating it in the dark at midnight with two giant dogs chewing at the door is a bit frightening." "Second uncle is just timid," Anan said. Lele nodded, somewhat agreeing. "Second uncle really is timid. He acts like that even when reading, saying it's a bit scary. Lele mimicked an old man on the subway looking at his phone, and then stifled a laugh. Second uncle was indeed a character. Sister, would you be scared of me? No, Anin shook her head. When did you realize you could understand them? Not long ago, I think. Actually, it seems like I could do it for the past 2 years, but back then it was hit or miss. Recently, it seems like I can understand all the time. Anin nodded. They were 6 years old now, and in the Kenglin realm, this age was when spiritual roots developed well. This ability likely followed the same principle, needing to stabilize at a certain age before one could start cultivating. However, she felt her own ability hadn't changed much. It was probably because they were in the south where the climate was hot and there were fewer ice elements. She would know more when she returned to the north this winter. Don't let anyone else know about this, except for mom and dad, okay? And reminded, there are many bad people in this world. Some greedy people in high positions might capture you for research if they find out. Then you would suffer and not be able to see us anymore.
Okay.
Lele pressed his lips together. I won't say anything. In the afternoon, Sumo returned to get the soy milk. Now that the weather is hot, if all the soy milk is taken in the morning, it might spoil by evening. To ensure quality, Sumo takes 2 buckets in the morning and keeps 1 bucket in the fridge to take back in the afternoon. After the trade fair ended, the customer flow decreased, but daily sales still remained around 150 yuan. Because the food is delicious, not only passengers, but also some nearby residents sometimes come to buy. Seeing Sumo return, Lele hurried over and whispered, Mom, I have something to tell you. Sumo glanced at Anin, who nodded, indicating that Lele had discovered something. Since Da Hu and Laoing arrived, Sumo had asked An to keep an eye on Lele. Rather than telling him directly, Sumo preferred that he discover it himself, and then clarify things for him. Lele had been trained since he was 3, so he had the necessary caution and wouldn't reveal anything in front of strangers. Okay, wait a moment for Mom. Sumo took the soy milk, said a word to Zhangzhen, and then took the 2 kids back to the corridor to watch TV. Once they got home, Lele quickly told Sumo. Is Lele scared? Just a little bit, only a little. Lele emphasized by holding up his pinky. Mom, is this a sickness? This is not a sickness. It's a superpower. Do you remember the stories about superheroes I told you? Lele nodded and then noticed Sumo used we, looking at her with some expectation. Mom, we? Sumo ruffled his hair and smiled. Yes, not just you, but Mom and your sister have it too. Lele's eyes lit up. Can Mom and sister understand what Laoing and Da Hu say too? Sumo shook her head. Everyone's powers are different. Mom will show you her superpower in a bit, but you have to help Mom keep it a secret. You can't tell anyone, okay? Otherwise, if the bad people find out, they might come and take Mom away. Lele nodded seriously. Don't worry, Mom. I won't tell anyone, not even Dad. Under Lele's watchful gaze, Sumo took a vegetable seed from her space ability. The seed quickly sprouted in her hand, and in just a few seconds, a fresh cabbage appeared. Lele's mouth dropped open in shock, and after a while, he exclaimed, Mom, Mom. That's amazing. Lele took the cabbage and examined it for a long time. Mom, can we eat this? Yes. Mom can not only grow vegetables but also fruits. The fruits you often eat are grown by Mom. This ability is called wood-type superpower. It can grow crops. Sumo said, taking out a watermelon seed and making a watermelon appear. Lele's exclamations of surprise never stopped. After Sumo cut the watermelon, Lele took a piece and bit into it. It was sweet and delicious. Mom, it tastes just like the ones we had before. Sumo smiled, because the ones we had before were also grown by Mom. As Lele was eating, he suddenly stopped and asked, Mom, does it hurt when you grow these? He wondered if Mom would feel pain since these things grew from her hand. If it hurt, he would rather not eat them. It doesn't hurt. Really? Lele grabbed Sumo's hand that had just grown the vegetable, blew on it, and asked, But they grow from your hand? Their instructor had said that plants grow by rooting in the soil and absorbing nutrients. Would these things take nutrients from Mom? If Mom's nutrients were taken away, would her health be affected? Lele voiced his concerns. The little one's worry warmed Sumo's heart, so she explained the energy behind superpowers in detail. Lele listened, somewhat understanding, and asked, "So, Mom won't feel pain, and it won't be bad for you, right?" Sumo nodded, and Lele finally felt relieved. "What about sister? What superpower does she have?" Lele turned to Anin stretched out her palm, and after a while, a thin layer of frost appeared on it. Lele reached out to touch it. "It's so cool." He then looked eagerly at Anin, hoping she would make more frost. Anin withdrew her hand, saying, "That's all there is." Lele felt a bit disappointed. His sister's ability seemed far less impressive compared to Mom's. "Lele, your sister's ability is called Ice-type superpower. As for your ability, Mom doesn't know what to call it yet, but it should be related to mental power. You both are still young, and your powers are still stabilizing. Once you practice more, you'll be as powerful as Mom. This superpower is like going to school. You can only learn it at a certain age, and you have to practice hard to improve." Sumo gave the two kids a brief overview of superpowers and how to upgrade them. "The key is to practice more." Lele listened intently. This undoubtedly opened a new world for him. And Lele, remember this. With our abilities, we must understand how to restrain ourselves better than others. I don't expect you to use these powers to benefit society, but you absolutely must not use them to bully others. Do you understand? The two little ones nodded. "I know, Mom." The instructor said that those who enjoy resources have more obligations and responsibilities to society. Since we have abilities that others don't, we should take on more to maintain the stability of society. We must never act like bullies. Lele said. "Shuma." Indeed, he was a child raised in the military. His thinking was completely correct. That's true. But Lele, you must not tell anyone about your ability, except for Mom and Dad, until you have enough strength. People can be unpredictable, and those who seem nice might betray you for their own gain. Lele nodded. "Mom, does Dad have superpowers?" Lele asked. "Dad doesn't."
Oh.
Lele looked sympathetic. Out of the four of them, Dad was the only one without superpowers. How unfortunate. It seemed they needed to protect Dad more in the future. In an instant, the tall image of Lu Chongjing in Lele's mind shrank a bit. Having stayed here for over half an hour, Sumo decided to put away the cabbage she had just grown and prepare to go to the small shop. "You two stay here and watch TV. I'm going to the shop." "Mom, where's the cabbage?" "I don't see it." Lele exclaimed in surprise. "Mom put it away," Sumo said, pulling out the cabbage again. Lele was amazed. He hadn't noticed the seeds appearing out of thin air when Sumo took them out earlier, thinking they just grew from her hand. "Where did you put it?" "This is another one of Mom's abilities, space ability. Is it like having a box that others can't see?" "Yes." "Mom, you're amazing. You're a fairy, right?" Sumo chuckled. "Mom is not a fairy. I'm just a person with superpowers." But Lele clearly didn't believe it. The journey to the west said that only fairies could create things and make dry food grow again with a wave of their hand. Was Mom doing just that? So, in Lele's not-so-mature worldview, he concluded that Sumo was a fairy, and he and Anin were the descendants of fairies, which is why they had superpowers. Lele was filled with joy, thinking that his mom was a fairy, with a big smile on his face. But remembering that his mom said this secret shouldn't be shared, he quickly hid his expression. So, throughout the afternoon, Lele's face kept changing, sometimes happy, sometimes trying to look calm. Anin noticed and thought it was funny. This kid seemed eager for everyone to know he had something special. To keep him grounded, Anin exaggerated the situation a bit, giving Lele a little scare to prevent him from getting too carried away. Sure enough, after Anin's comments, Lele's expression became more natural. That evening, Lele didn't want to stay in the studio with Su-Yun to sleep. He said he wanted to go home. Su-Yun thought he might have scared Lele the night before and felt guilty. He planned to buy Lele some toys or comics in a couple of days to cheer him up. On the third floor of the building on Gaudi Street, there were 3 bedrooms, one for Su Tingqian and his wife, one for Sumo and Lu Chongjing, and one for Lele and Anin. When they got home, Lele insisted on sleeping with his mom, quickly pulling her into the room and shutting the door tightly. Mo Yurom teased her little grandson, noticing he had his own little plans. She worried that Ainin might be scared sleeping alone, so she went to sleep with Ainin instead, leaving Su Tingqian alone in the empty room. Once inside, Lele pulled the curtains shut and whispered, "Mom, can you show me that cabbage from this afternoon?" Su Mo laughed and took out the cabbage for him. After looking at the cabbage, Lele asked, "Mom, besides watermelon and cabbage, what else can you grow?" "As long as there are seeds, I can grow anything," Su Mo replied. "Mom, can you grow pears?" Lele asked. "Of course. Do you want to eat pears?" Su Mo said, pulling out a pear for him. Lele had always loved pears, but fruits weren't as easy to get back then. At this time of year, there were no pears sold in the South, so Su Mo couldn't easily provide one. Lele reached out and asked, "Mom, can you grow a pear for me to see?"
Sure.
In private, she was happy to satisfy his curiosity. Some things become normal once you see them often enough. Su Mo spent over half an hour growing a pear tree that bore a decent amount of fruit. However, since the room was small, she controlled the tree's size, making it only as tall as a person, with not too many pears. Even so, Lele covered his mouth and squinted his eyes, grinning mischievously.
He knew it.
When they visited Lu family village before, he had seen a pear tree in the house late at night. So his mom really was a pear fairy. Even though his mom didn't admit it, that was the truth. In mid-June, Lu Chongjing returned from a mission and noticed Lele looking at him strangely, with a mix of admiration and a hint of sympathy. Confused, Lu Chongjing asked Su Mo what had happened while he was away. Su Mo explained everything, emphasizing that Lele had discovered his special ability and learned that both she and Ainin had abilities too. After hearing this, Lu Chongjing understood everything and clenched his teeth in silence. That little brat would learn that his father was still his father. Su Mo told Lu Chongjing about Lele's practice with his ability, guessing that it was likely a form of mental control related to animals. This ability was best practiced in the woods, where there were many small animals. However, Su Mo had school every day and on weekends, she wanted to help her parents, so she couldn't find much time to take him. Since Lu Chongjing often trained in the forest, it would be easier for him to take Lele along. Besides, he was used to training soldiers and would likely have better methods than her. Lu Chongjing readily agreed, thinking it was a good opportunity to teach Lele some life lessons. He then asked about Ainin, considering how to make things easier for her. Lu Chongjing was always efficient, and a few days later, he took the two kids to a forest in a neighboring province for training. The three of them spent about 10 days there, and when they returned, Lele looked at Lu Chongjing with renewed admiration. In July, Su Tingda officially transferred to Yangcheng. He came alone, and since housing was tight, he didn't ask the military for a place but instead requested a single dormitory for busy times, returning to the big house in Shiguan when he wasn't busy. After all, there were things hidden there. If he wasn't around, it was difficult to manage, but if he was there, it was better to keep watch. Fu Manhua didn't transfer with him. Zhua Huiqin was pregnant and already 4 months along, so she needed to stay in Guizhou to help. Once the second child was born, and a bit older, she would consider moving. On July 1st, the two kids celebrated their 5th birthday, which also happened to be Su Tingda's promotion day. With no one to help, Su Mo took charge. She ordered a big cake from the Western restaurant at Yangcheng Hotel to celebrate for the three of them. That day, the small shop closed at 6 in the evening. The family went to the big house in Shiguan for dinner. Since the house had been empty for so long, they wanted to bring some life back to it. After dinner, Su Tingda took Su Tingqian to the storage room to show him some hidden items. "Tingqian, I discussed with your sister-in-law, and we agreed to split these things evenly. Which ones do you want? Find a time to take some back." Su Tingqian waved his hand. "Brother, Dad has already divided everything. These things are yours. I can't take them."
But yours.
"Whatever I gain is my fortune. Whatever I lose is my fate. Brother, the country has already compensated me for my losses. Besides, with that notice I received, I'll earn back what I lost eventually." Su Tingqian's eyes were filled with confidence. The money you earn is yours, but these are things left by the previous generation. Su Tingqian interrupted, Brother, this is a decision made with Yuru and Mo. What's meant for someone is theirs. Besides, I still have 2 items left. I just want to keep them as family heirlooms. Those 2 items were what they had brought back. When Su Tingqian suggested not taking anything from Yangqing, Su Mo readily agreed. The items were all in her space, so there was no need to take anything from her uncle. Seeing that his brother truly didn't want anything, Su Tingde didn't push further. He could find a good reason later to give them to the younger generation. Besides, many of these items were cultural treasures that he didn't want to sell. From July 7th to 9th, the second college entrance exam took place as scheduled. This time, both teachers and students were well prepared. Compared to last year, the difficulty of the exam had noticeably increased. The number of candidates was also about 70 to 80,000 more than the previous year. Earlier in the year, the government announced that starting with the next college entrance exam, only current students would be allowed to take it. For those who weren't current students, this was their only chance. Especially for the young intellectuals in the countryside, this was not only an opportunity to change their fate, but also a chance to return to the city. At the entrance of a high school in Qingxi County, Hejiang Province, Tao Peixing picked up Ma Xiaojun after she finished her last exam and asked, Xiaojun, how did it go? Do you feel confident? Ma Xiaojun had looked serious for the past few days, and Tao Peixing was a bit worried. He hadn't dared to ask until now. It should be fine. I could answer most of the questions. A long-lost smile appeared on Ma Xiaojun's face. Tao Peixing breathed a sigh of relief and said, I knew you could do it. Ma Xiaojun huffed, not confirming or denying. After spending nearly a year in the family camp, she had faced many frustrating issues. She was eager to leave that place, so she wouldn't allow herself to fail. She couldn't help it, her awareness wasn't high. Let old Tao handle his own repayment life. She just needed to take care of herself and her child. The day after the exam, Ma Xiaojun packed her bags and took her son back to her parents' home. Ma Xiaojun's son was already 8 months old, chubby and lively, with a few teeth and able to crawl. He babbled every day, trying to learn to talk, making it a fun time. During her years in the countryside, she had only returned home twice, once for her wedding to Tao Peixing. Now that the exam was over, it was natural for her to go back. Her parents had yet to meet their grandson. After Ma Xiaojun left, Aunt Zhao wiped her tears and asked Tao Peixing, Tao, does Xiaojun not like me here? So she went back to her parents' home? Why else would she return home without any special occasion? Tao Peixing felt overwhelmed. Aunt, that's not true.
How could you think that?
Xiaojun has been in the countryside for 6 years and has only come home twice. Now that she has a break after the exam, of course, she needs to go back. Her parents haven't seen the baby yet. She has to take him back to meet them. Really not because of me? Aunt Zhao asked, then started to complain, Tao, Xiaojun must dislike me. Look, she has been living here for almost a year, and I hardly see her smile. Compared to the cheerful Tao Peixing, Ma Xiaojun did smile less, but she certainly wasn't frowning. Aunt Zhao was just sensitive and always thought Ma Xiaojun disliked her. Aunt, you're overthinking it. Xiaojun is under a lot of pressure from studying and taking care of the baby. She's just tired. You don't know how hard it is to get into university. Thousands of people take the exam, and only a few are accepted. Xiaojun has it tough. Tao Peixing tried to comfort Aunt Zhao. He truly regretted not listening to his mother's advice to send money and supplies regularly and find someone nearby to help instead of bringing someone sensitive and habitually pessimistic into their home. Dealing with someone like that was exhausting. When he was alone, it was fine, but since he got married, Aunt Zhao had become even more sensitive, often crying and thinking Ma Xiaojun disliked her. If he didn't know his wife's character well, he might have believed Aunt Zhao's thoughts. Ma Xiaojun was straightforward and wouldn't scheme behind anyone's back. She was generous and easy to get along with. If she were his biological mother, he would have confronted her, but since she wasn't, he couldn't say a harsh word. Ma Xiaojun was from Tong City in the neighboring province. It took just over 2 days by train to get home. She first stopped in Harbin to stay with her in-laws for 2 or 3 days before heading back to her parents' home. Once at her parents' house, Ma Xiaojun vented to her mother, feeling suffocated. "Mom, you have no idea what my life has been like this past year. I'm really about to burst." "What happened? Did Tao Peixing bully you?" Her son-in-law seemed nice. Could it be that he was not what he appeared to be? "No, he didn't dare to bully me." "Then it must be your mother-in-law giving you a hard time." Ma Xiaojun waved her hand. "Not really. I hardly see my mother-in-law once a year." "It's Aunt Zhao." "Her?" Ma's mother was surprised. That old lady relied on her son-in-law for support and dared to bully her daughter? Was there no justice? "She's an old lady far from home, relying on Peixing. How could you let her bully you? When did you become so timid? Did I teach you nothing?" Ma's mother felt frustrated. "Listen to me. If she really bullied me, that would be easy to solve, but it seems she hasn't bullied me. Aunt Zhao is very sensitive, always acting cautiously, thinking I dislike her and will kick her out. If I ever talk to her without a smile, she immediately turns to wipe her tears, believing I'm giving her the cold shoulder. Honestly, am I really that harsh? Even if she is a war widow, just for the times she helps me with the baby, I can't treat her badly, let alone kick her out. But she just can't understand. Peixing and I have told her several times, but she firmly believes I dislike her. If it weren't for Peixing believing in me, we would probably be fighting every day. You know my temper. If it were someone else, I would have hit her by now. But her son saved Peixing, so I can't say anything harsh in front of her, or it would seem ungrateful. I have to be careful when I talk to her, always making sure I'm smiling. I'm really exhausted and feeling so stifled. You know, how can a person not have any emotions? Who can always be smiling and cheerful?" After listening, Ma's mother fell silent. As a doctor, she had seen many dark things in the hospital. Was that old lady trying to stir trouble between her daughter and son-in-law? If she complained every day for a year or two, could her son-in-law still trust her daughter after 3 to 5 years? Has she ever mentioned wanting to bring any relatives over? Ma's mother asked. Ma Xiaojun shook her head.
No.
Peixing said all her relatives died during the disaster years, and she only has one son left, who also died later. This was why Tao Peixing insisted on bringing her over. The old lady had no family left. Moreover, people in the countryside said Aunt Zhao was unlucky and had caused all her relatives to die, so most villagers avoided her, making her life difficult there. After hearing Ma Xiaojun, Ma's mother felt uncertain. Could it be that the old lady was truly afraid of being abandoned by Peixing and was always watching them closely? Why not try being a bit sweeter and comforting her more often? "Oh, Mom, you're really my mother, always finding trouble for your daughter. You know me, I respond better to softness than harshness. The more she wants me to comfort her, the less I can do it. I'm feeling frustrated too. How can I sweet-talk her? Now that Peixing has brought her here, with her personality, you can't send her back. You have to deal with her. She's too old to change, and if you don't change, how will you live? No need to change. Soon we won't have to deal with her. I think I did well on the college entrance exam, and once I go to university, I won't have to interact with her anymore. Aunt Zhao isn't a bad person, just hard to get along with," Ma Xiaojun sighed. Ma's mother shot her a look. "There will always be breaks from school, right? What about after graduation? Do you plan to live apart from Peixing in different places? It would be foolish to let a stranger come between them and cause them to live apart." It seemed she needed to talk to her in-laws about this and come up with a good plan. Some things were better for the elders to discuss since the kids couldn't say them directly. In mid-July, the high school entrance exams began in various places. College students were also working hard, making a final push for their end-of-term exams. Su Tiqian was busy writing his final summary report, preparing to officially resign after the semester ended. From July 18th to 20th, the entire Hejiang province was focused on the tense entrance exams. The tension was due to the educational reform in Hejiang province, which would change the junior high school system from 2 years to 3 years next semester. This meant that if students did not get into high school this year, they would have to repeat 2 years before taking the entrance exam again. In addition to the change in the system, New subjects were added to the curriculum. Previously, junior high school subjects included Chinese, math, politics, physics, chemistry, general knowledge, music, and physical education labor. Under the new system, the subjects would change to include Chinese, math, English, politics, physics, chemistry, history, geography, biology, music, physical education, and art. The number of subjects increased from 8 to 12, adding 4 new subjects, which was a shock for students who had to repeat. When there were fewer subjects, they struggled to pass. Now with more subjects, it seemed even harder. Lu Xingjuan and Lu Yuji took Lu Fengqin to the exam site, reminding her to answer carefully and not to be careless. After Lu Fengqin entered, Lu Yuji worriedly asked Lu Xingjuan, "Do you think Fengqin can pass?" "I don't know. She just needs to focus on the exam. If she doesn't pass, she can repeat," Lu Xingjuan replied. He had asked the homeroom teacher, who said that if Lu Fengqin performed well, she might barely make it if not. But didn't they say that repeating means learning a lot more subjects? And I heard it takes 2 years to repeat. It would be best if she passes, but if not, then it's 2 more years. Lu Yuji frowned. If she had to repeat for 2 more years, it would cost a lot of money. In the second half of the year, Ai Qin would also be starting junior high. In 1971, the tuition receipt for junior high was 6 yuan per semester, plus 2 yuan for books and miscellaneous fees, totaling at least 8 yuan per semester. If boarding, it would cost an additional 2 yuan for accommodation. Besides that, they needed to buy paper and pens, and there were daily living expenses. By the end of the year, it would cost at least 30 yuan for one person and 60 yuan for 2. Luckily, she had a job, otherwise, they couldn't afford it. I don't think Fengqin is cut out for studying. If she doesn't pass, why not? Lu Xingjuan shot her a glare and scolded, "Stop overthinking. Fengqin is a good kid. She just needs better guidance from you. If she doesn't pass and wants to repeat, she can. If not, she can work in the fields." At that moment, other parents were nearby, and Lu Yuji felt embarrassed by his outburst. She glared at Lu Xingjuan and rode her bike to work. She couldn't reason with this stubborn man. What mattered more than face? The benefits were what truly mattered. If Dia liked studying but didn't want support, that was her problem. But it was clear Dia didn't enjoy school. Forcing her wouldn't help, and it would waste time. It would be better for her to earn money, which could help support Arya, who is clearly eager to learn. In late July, the high school entrance exam results were released. Tao Peisheng had someone check Ma Xiaojuan's scores. They were quite good, and she should be safe for the university she applied to. Ma Xiaojun was in a great mood, and since her brother and sister were back from university for vacation, she left the kids with them and planned to visit Yangqing to see Su Mo and experience the world. Ma Xiaojuan's brother and sister had also taken the college entrance exam last year and got into good schools. Ma's brother and sister were surprised that their sister was so unreliable, leaving the kids with them to go have fun. But knowing how much their sister had endured in the countryside over the years, they willingly took care of the children. By the end of July, the results of the junior high entrance exams came out, and Lu Fengqin did not pass, missing the cutoff by more than 10 points. Qingxi County was small, with only one high school. If she didn't pass, there were no other options. She could either repeat or drop out. Lu Xingjuan asked Lu Fengqin what she thought, but she looked down in silence, not responding. Lu Xingjuan didn't indulge her. The next day, he took her to work in the fields and instructed the team leader to assign her adult-level tasks. At 15, she was a young lady. She should be able to earn at least 6 work points a day. After a day of work, Lu Fengqin couldn't take it anymore and cried when Lu Yuji came home. Seeing that Lu Xingjuan was determined not to budge, Lu Yuji was furious. All her recent talks with him seemed pointless. Fine, if he, as the older brother, cared about face and wouldn't speak up, then she would take charge as the sister-in-law. The next day, while at work, Lu Yuji called the post office to reach Su Mo, but unfortunately, Su Mo's family was not at home. The person who answered said Su Mo was out, so she planned to call again after work. When she called after work, the response was the same. Su Mo was still not home, and when she asked about Lu Chongzheng, he was also unavailable. Lu Yuji was surprised. Where had the third brother's family gone?
They had been out all day.
She felt a pinch in her wallet as she paid for the phone call. She had made 2 calls, but no one was home, and she had spent 2.2 yuan on phone fees. Long-distance calls were indeed expensive. But writing a letter would take too long, and sending a telegram might not convey everything clearly. It was costly, but calling was better. Lu Yuji planned to call again the next day. The next day, the management office received another call looking for Su Mo. With so many calls, they wondered if something was wrong. They said, Su Mo mostly stays at her parents' house now and rarely returns to the family compound. Where are you calling from? What do you need to contact her about? I can pass on the message. Why is she staying at her parents' house? Is something wrong? Lu Yuji was alarmed, hoping it wasn't a divorce like Xiaolon. Nothing's wrong. She went to help her parents. I heard they opened a small shop selling buns. Lu Yuji's eyes lit up. Selling things definitely required help. Having phone Qin assist would be perfect. Excuse me, do you know her parents' phone number? I'm her sister-in-law, and need to reach her. Sorry, I don't know. But someone from our compound is working there. I can have them pass on the message and Su Mo can call you back. You're her brother-in-law, right? Yes, I'm Lu Chongjing's sister-in-law. Thank you so much. Lu Yuji said gratefully. After hanging up, she smiled widely, not minding the phone bill anymore. Since they had already hired help, Feng Qin's job would surely be fine. If necessary, they could let that helper go and have Feng Qin take over. In the evening, Wang Suimei returned home. Director Song from the management office stopped her and mentioned Lu Yuji's phone calls, asking her to pass the message to Su Mo. Sure, I'll go over early tomorrow and let her know, Wang Suimei replied. The Su family was preparing to open a second shop. She hadn't seen Su Mo for a few days and heard she was busy with the new shop, leaving early every morning. Wang Suimei was worried there might be something urgent, so she planned to go over early to inform her. Hey Wang, how is their little shop doing? Can they keep it going? Director Song leaned in and asked quietly. She really couldn't understand why a good university professor would give that up to sell buns and engage in speculation. It seemed a bit off. Although people used to criticize teachers harshly, now that college entrance exams were back, it seemed like good days were ahead. Why would they do this? Why wouldn't they keep it going? Business is good. They're opening a second shop, Wang Suimei said. Director Song was surprised. They had only been open for a short time, and now they were planning a second shop? Is speculation really that profitable? Hey, Director Song, you shouldn't say that. We're not speculating. We have official approval and are part of a national trial. We're serving the country, Wang Suimei quickly corrected. She hated when people called their work speculation. They were operating legally and even had the support of the Revolutionary Committee. Right, I misspoke, Director Song chuckled. Is it really that profitable? I don't know if it's profitable, but the buns sell well. They should be making money, Wang Suimei laughed. How much do they pay you each month? Director Song asked. In these times, salaries were usually transparent and it wasn't awkward to ask about pay. We're not paid monthly. We settle daily. 2 yuan a day, Wang Suimei said proudly. She had been worried about causing trouble for Su Mo, so she hadn't mentioned her salary before. Recently, Su Mo told her not to worry. They were following the rules and had nothing to hide. Since Director Song asked, she decided to share. Despite being the director, how much could a management office director earn? Only 38 yuan a month. Director Song gasped. That's high? The cafeteria workers in the family compound only made 26 yuan a month. Wang Suimei waved her hand. The pay is high, but it's not stable like a regular job with benefits. In reality, their work was very stable. She had been working for over 3 months without a single day off. As long as she didn't take leave, she could work as many days as she wanted. She heard from Director Zhang that they would be hiring more people after opening the new shop. Although they didn't have other benefits, they occasionally received seasonal fruits, and if there was leftover meat, they would get a little to take home. Of course, Wang Suimei wouldn't mention this to avoid drawing attention. Hearing Wang Suimei's words, Director Song felt a bit better. Their work was stable, easy, and had good benefits. Although her salary was higher, who knew how long she could keep it? Thinking of this, Director Song's earlier thoughts faded away. Her niece went to the countryside last year but couldn't stand it and returned sick this year. Now that she was back, she couldn't just stay home and rely on her parents. She needed to find a job. Initially, when Wang Tsuemei mentioned such a high salary, she thought about asking Su Mo if she could arrange a job for her niece. But now, she decided against it and would look for other options. Although the pay was higher, it wasn't stable, and it wouldn't look good to mention it. At this time, most people took pride in having a secure job, as stability and the ability to work for a lifetime were more important than anything else. The next day, Wang Tsuemei went to the workshop early and ran into Su Mo and Su Yuan, who were about to leave. She quickly told them what was happening. When Su Mo heard that Lu Yuji had called several times, she thought something was wrong, so she hurried to the post office to call the Lu family village. After Lu Yuji made her calls yesterday, she worried that if Su Mo called and she wasn't home, someone else might answer and interrupt her plans, so she went back to the supply and marketing cooperative to ask for leave. This morning, she took her sewing kit and arrived early at the team office to wait, sewing absent-mindedly while waiting for the call. Before long, she heard the phone ring and rushed over. Today, it happened to be the turn of the women's director, Lu Guilon. She was talking to Su Mo and preparing to announce something over the loudspeaker when Lu Yuji rushed in. "Annie, did my sister-in-law call?" Lu Guilon smiled. "You really have good ears. It was Su Mo calling."
You can take the call now.
She handed the phone to Lu Yuji and got up to leave. Lu Guilon was a dignified person who didn't like gossip, so when she was on duty and someone called, she would usually step away. "Big sister, is something wrong at home?" "Xiao Mo, everything is fine at home, but my sister-in-law has something she needs your help with." Lu Yuji explained that Lu Fengqin didn't get into high school and wanted her to go to Yangqing to see the world. Su Mo was taken aback. If Lu Fengqin were still the hardworking girl she used to be, she would have agreed without hesitation, as they were looking for people, and it was better to hire family than outsiders. But now, she couldn't take her on. A girl with such vanity and a weak character was likely to cause trouble. She was already busy and didn't have time to help teach someone else's child. Although she hadn't returned to Lu family village in years, she kept in touch with Lu Xiaolan, who had mentioned several times in her letters that Lu Fengqin had been led astray by her sister-in-law. "Big sister, this is quite difficult. If Fengqin just wants to come over to visit for a few days, that's fine, but if she wants to come here to work, that's a different story. My sister-in-law knows that military jobs are hard to arrange. This doesn't need military arrangements. I heard your dad opened a small shop. You can just arrange for her to work there. Big sister, it's not just about where she works. It's about whether Fengqin can transfer her status here. This big city is different from the countryside. Each person has a fixed quota for food, water, electricity, and coal every month. If Fengqin's status can't be transferred, she won't have access to these resources. Without them, how can she live? Well, let the third one help with the military transfer. Big sister, the military is very strict now. Only spouses and children can get military transfers. Lu Xiaolan got a special exception because of the long march, but that wouldn't happen now. Fengqin is just a niece, and her parents are alive, so it's impossible. Lu Yuji was momentarily speechless and finally gritted her teeth. Then don't do the military transfer. Let Fengqin buy food on the black market. How much food can a girl eat in a month? At most, it would be 10 or so jin, and 5 yuan a month would be the limit. And what about water, electricity, and coal? If she buys everything on the black market, her monthly salary might not even be enough to support herself. Lu Yuji almost blurted out, "Don't you think as uncles and aunts you should be more considerate of your niece?" Thankfully, she held back. These are just secondary issues. Without a military transfer, she can't live long-term in the family compound. The military will send her back. Where will Fengqin live then? It wouldn't be right to let her stay with my parents, would it? Besides, my dad has resigned now, and the school housing has been taken back. He is currently living with my mom at my uncle's place, which is really inconvenient. Isn't it said that you can get close to the big leaders and get some favors? Can't you find someone to help with the military transfer? Big sister, that big leader is very fair. Just because 2 kids got close to him, he was delayed in getting promoted for a long time. He won't bend the rules for this kind of thing. If we try, it might even anger him, and he could cut ties with those 2 kids. Big sister, we are both mothers. You have to think about your child, and I have to think about mine. I won't do anything that could harm my children's future. If you can find a way to transfer her status, I can talk to my dad and see if he can arrange a job for Fengqin at the shop. Other than that, I can't help. Lu Yuji hung up the phone, her face dark as she grabbed her things and left. Lu Guilin noticed Lu Yuji's bad mood and wondered if something had happened with Lu Laosan's family. However, she wasn't one to pry, so she didn't ask. If there was really something going on, she would hear about it eventually. When Lu Yuji got home, she tossed her sewing basket aside and sat on the Kong, fuming. That family is so selfish. They won't even lift a finger to help their own people. They talk a good game, saying they can help her get a job if they can transfer connections. If they really had that ability, why would they need her? They would have arranged something for their child long ago. She couldn't believe that with Lu Laosan's high position, he couldn't even arrange for a military transfer. It was clearly an excuse. He just didn't want to help. Even if a military transfer wasn't possible, couldn't he at least rent a place for Fengqin over there? With Lu Laosan's high salary, could they really not afford to support their niece a little? It was obvious they didn't want her to go. She and Lu Xingjuan weren't harsh on their children. If expenses were high over there, they wouldn't let Fengqin send money home. Once Fengqin had a salary, she could support herself without needing their help. Was it too much to ask for a little assistance? In the past, she had helped deliver rice and grain to people in the cow shed. She could help strangers, but not her own niece. It was clear they only cared about people who could benefit them. They saw those with connections as useful, while they thought of themselves as useless siblings. She couldn't believe how materialistic the couple was. They usually acted so nice, treating everyone well, but when it came to a crucial moment, their true colors showed. After Su Mo finished her phone call, she went to the new shop. The new shop was a small 2-story building, not very big, with about 60 square meters on each floor. The first floor had a hall, kitchen, and 1 bedroom, while the second floor had 3 bedrooms. It was in a great location, at the intersection leading to several large factories, like the textile, garment, food, and cigarette factories. Bicycles passed by so frequently that it was almost congested. However, this small building had been used for living, so it needed some renovations to become a shop. They found the same construction team that had renovated before and opened a large window for selling goods on the wall facing the street, converting the living room into a shop. They also refurbished and painted the other areas. After more than half a month of renovations, everything was finished yesterday. Su Mo and her team went over today to clean up. Once the cleaning was done and the custom items arrived, they would be ready to open. The small building was bought by Su Yuan for 2,500 yuan, which was about 21 yuan per square meter. This year, the weather was getting warmer, and housing prices in Yangcheng were starting to rise. When Su Mo bought the shop on Gaudi Street, prices were around 10 yuan per square meter, but now they had increased to about 25 or 26 yuan. Last month, Su Qifa also bought a building on Gaudi Street, slightly larger than Su Mo's, for 6,000 yuan. In less than 2 years, the price had doubled. Su Mo wanted to buy 1 or 2 more buildings, but there were few sellers. With Su Pe, the old neighbor, around, most of the available properties had been taken by her. Su Qifa's building was one that Su Pe rejected due to the high price, which is why it ended up in his hands. However, at the beginning of the month, Su Mo managed to buy a small courtyard of about 180 square meters in another area for 2,000 yuan. This courtyard was located in a future famous CBD area in Yangcheng, but at this time, it was still suburban, surrounded by fields, so the price was low. It could sell for 2,000 yuan mainly because the house was a newly built cement bungalow. When Su Mo arrived, the cleaning ladies had already come, and Su Yuan was assigning them tasks. After assigning the work, Su Yuan asked, "How's everything at home?" Su Mo shook her head. "Nothing's wrong, just that my sister-in-law wants her daughter to come work in Yangcheng." Su Yuan had met the children from the Lu family before when he helped Su Mo during her postpartum period, and he thought they were nice. He was about to say, "Then let her come. We need people," when Su Mo spoke up. But I subtly turned her down. Earlier, Xiaolon wrote to say that after all these years in Yangcheng, that child has been spoiled by her mother and has become vain and unable to endure hardship. Su Yuan sighed. It was a shame to see a good child ruined. Choosing a wife really required careful consideration. A bad one could ruin 3 generations. Someone like that should definitely not come. If she does, she'll just cause trouble, Su Yuan said. But you should still tell Lu Chongjing about this, so he can handle it himself. You don't need to shield him from it. From what he knew of Lu Chongjing, he wouldn't bring someone like that to bother his sister. Su Mo smiled. Yes, I know. I'll tell him tonight. However, before the evening, Lu Chongjing had to go out for something and stopped by here on his way back. Su Mo took the opportunity to tell him about it. Did my brother ask my sister-in-law to call? Lu Chongjing asked. Not really. I heard from Xiaolon that my brother disagrees with Lu Fengqin coming to Yangcheng. He wants her to focus on her studies. Lu Chongjing nodded. Okay, I understand. Don't worry about this, my wife. I'll handle it. After turning to the army, Lu Chongjing called the Lu family village to check on the situation with Lu Boming. In the evening, he called again to speak with Lu Xingjuan. I heard from my wife that my sister-in-law called, wanting us to bring Fengqin to Yangcheng for a job. Lu Xingjuan's face turned red upon hearing this. Don't listen to your sister-in-law's nonsense. That child is a bit misguided right now. I think she should be taught a lesson and continue studying for another 2 years to see if she can get into high school. That's fine. You can arrange it. If she really doesn't want to study, I have another option. Our military district is recruiting female soldiers. If Fengqin wants to go, I can arrange it. That vanity and inability to endure hardship can be fixed with some training in the army. Lu Xingjuan's eyes lit up. He thought being a soldier was much better than working in Yangcheng. Can that work? Are you sure you can arrange it? In those days, everyone wanted to join the army, and it wasn't easy for ordinary people to get selected. As long as she's willing to go, I can arrange it. But you need to make it clear to her that once she goes, she can't be a deserter. That won't happen. Lu Xingjuan was very happy. Old 3, thank you. My brother will remember this. We're family, so there's no need for formalities. I didn't mention it before, because the kids are still young. I thought they should at least finish high school first, but I didn't expect Fengqin didn't get in. Lu Xingjuan felt a bit ashamed. We didn't teach her well. All right, brother. You ask her, and I'll call you back tomorrow at this time. My suggestion is that she should at least finish high school. The military is also transforming and placing more importance on education. Okay. As for coming to Yangcheng, I really can't arrange it. Xiao Mo has already explained to my sister-in-law that it's difficult to handle military transfers, and both of us are busy. It's our parents who are helping to look after the kids while they run their business, and that's already a lot for them. If Fengqin were sensible, it would be fine. But with her current personality, who knows what trouble she might cause if she comes? Who would take responsibility for that? Yes, I understand, brother. I wasn't planning to let her come anyway. The 2 brothers talked a bit more before hanging up. They knew each other well. While there might be some small thoughts, there was no malice. After all, they were family, and as long as it didn't go against principles, Lu Chongjing was still willing to help. On the way home, Lu Xingjuan felt both happy and angry. He was glad that his 3rd brother arranged such a good opportunity, but he was angry at Lu Yuji for making decisions on her own. They had clearly said not to let the child go to Yangcheng and to focus on studying, but she refused to listen. When he got home, Lu Xingjuan frowned and said to Lu Yuji, "Come into the room with me." Lu Yuji pouted, handed the spatula to Lu Aiqin to continue cooking, and followed him into the room. "Did you call my 3rd sister-in-law?" "Yes, so what? Did they call you to complain?" "If you don't want to help, then don't stir things up by calling." Lu Yuji replied sharply. She realized that having a successful uncle was useless. Relying on others was not as good as depending on oneself. Lu Xingjuan was almost furious. "Didn't I tell you it's impossible for Daya to go to Yangcheng?
Don't you see how the child is doing?
You haven't taught her well, and now you want to send her away to cause trouble for others? Lu Yuji exploded in response. What's wrong with the child? Did she steal or rob? Why are you saying she'll cause trouble for others? In Lu Yuji's eyes, Lu Fengqin was still the good child who often helped her with chores and took care of her younger siblings. She was her most beloved child. What's wrong? Can't you see? When you were cooking earlier, it was Ai-Qin who helped you with the fire. Yes, Ai-Qin did help with the fire. So what? Fengqin worked all day and is tired. What's wrong with her resting? Lu Yuji had noticed her eldest daughter's issues, but she would never admit it during an argument. Ai-Qin also worked all day, and she earned more work points than Fengqin. A 13-year-old child earns more than a 15-year-old. Don't you think that's a problem? Lu Yuji scoffed. Can work points be calculated by age? When my third brother was young, he earned more work points than you. Lu Xingjuan. This argument was going nowhere. Stop changing the subject. We're talking about the children. Look at how Fengqin has changed. She wants good food, nice clothes, and luxury items, but she's lazy at work and not serious about studying. She doesn't have the hard-working spirit of a laborer anymore. She's become a spoiled capitalist. With a child like that, you still want to send her to Yangcheng? Lu Yuji huffed. Isn't it because your family married into a capitalist family? Shut up. Lu Xingjuan shouted, startling Lu Yuji and the three children eavesdropping. Are you even speaking reasonably? Even if Xiao Mo is a capitalist, she's a hard-working and progressive one. No matter where she is, she excels at her job. Her planting report brought in so much profit for the team. The team still remembers her well. She hasn't interfered with your child. If your child isn't raised well, how can you blame her? Lu Yuji cried as Lu Xingjuan yelled at her. If she didn't often write about Yangcheng and send nice things, would the child even think about going there? Lu Xingjuan paused, looking at Lu Yuji in shock. She's being filial, sharing her experiences from the big city with the elders. What's wrong with that? She thinks of us as family and sends good things to improve our lives, but you don't appreciate it and instead resent her? Lu Yuji, you're truly ungrateful. I'll call my third sister-in-law tomorrow and tell her not to send anything to us anymore. Otherwise, someone might think her gifts are meant to corrupt us. I think the one who's gone bad is you, not Dia. It's you who keeps saying this and that to her, causing her to change. Ever since you got Xiaolan's job, you've become arrogant, thinking you're so important now. You don't even know who you are anymore. You think you've seen the world and want to imitate city workers and leaders? Unfortunately, you've only picked up their bad habits. Do you know what this is called? A small person getting ahead. A country bumpkin thinking they've made it. Look at your arrogance. Lu Yuji cried harder, feeling frustrated, and scratched Lu Xingjuan. Did I say that? Did I say that? If something goes wrong, you blame me? You were the one who first said to let Dia go to Yangcheng. I just told her what you said. Lu Xingjuan, blocking Lu Yuji's hands, replied, What did I say? Can you repeat my exact words? I said to let Dia focus on her studies, and if she really can't get into college, she could go to Yangcheng to stay with her uncle. Isn't that what I said? You didn't clarify your words to the child. Now she doesn't want to study or work. She just wants to go to Yangcheng. If she's going, what's the difference between going early or late? What's the difference? Everyone dies eventually, whether it's early or late. Why don't you just die early? What other difference is there? That's the difference. You fool. If the child studies seriously and doesn't get into college, she'll still have a high school diploma. It would be easier for my third brother to arrange something for her. What can she do if she just graduates from middle school? You call me a fool? You're the fool. My third brother's family is so superficial. They never thought about helping you. They'd rather keep their distance from burdens like you. Lu Yuji scolded angrily. Who said my third brother doesn't care? He's already planned for the kids. They just need to graduate high school to be arranged in the army. The child had a bright future, but you ruined it. Lu Yuji paused and stopped scratching Lu Xingjuan. Did my third brother really say he would arrange for the kids to join the army? Yes, he just called me and said he could arrange for the kids to join the army, but he hopes they finish high school first, as the army is starting to value education now. Lu Yuji wiped her tears. Joining the army isn't bad. She could go to the arts troupe or be a telephone operator, which is good. Lu Xingjuan scoffed. With De Ye's lack of singing ability, how could she join the arts troupe? Well, being a telephone operator in Yangcheng isn't bad. It's a big city. Why can't you let go of Yangcheng? It's so far away. Do you think relationships are that easy to manage? It's our local army. But her uncle is in Yangcheng. My third brother has been a soldier here for so long. Doesn't he have some connections? Then that's fine. It's still the army, and her uncle can look after her. Lu Xingjuan sneered. Just now, you were cursing the capitalist's family and calling them superficial, and now it's her uncle. Lu Yuji, I think you're the real superficial one. Everyone lives in the same courtyard, and the couple's argument was loud enough for Lu Xiaolan and San Lao to hear while they were eating in the hall. Listening to the argument made her extremely angry. Previously, when Lu Xiaolan was in Yangcheng, she knew what Su Emo sent back during the new year, and she even helped prepare some of it. They thought that since Qingxi County is a small place with few good items, sending back some nice things was their mistake. It was clear that the other party had bad intentions and was raising their child poorly, yet they blamed Sensa. People like that shouldn't have relatives. They should be alone for life. Tomorrow, she would call Sansa and tell her not to send anything to Deji's family anymore during the holidays. Her current sister-in-law had changed so much that she barely recognized her. In her memory, her sister-in-law was always gentle and hardworking. How did she become like this? Lu Xiaolan's eyes were a bit red. If she had known back then that selling her work to outsiders would be better than giving it to her sister-in-law, she wouldn't have done it. Some people might only remain simple and honest if they spend their lives working hard in the fields. Once they have money or a higher status, their true nature shows, and they become arrogant. When poor people suddenly become rich, they can be quite boastful. Lu Xiaolan was so angry that she almost cried and felt disappointed in her brother and sister-in-law. If the parents were like this, how could the children not follow their example? Fortunately, her brother still had some sense. Otherwise, she wouldn't bother with their family anymore. Lu Qing'an and his wife also looked unhappy. Listening to the nonsense being said, if Lu Xingjuan hadn't shut it down, she would have gone over to scold them. The eldest family had hidden their true feelings well. If it hadn't been for this argument, she wouldn't have known what they really thought. Usually, when she saw her and the second family's interactions, they would send mountain goods to Yangcheng every year, and she thought the sisters-in-law got along well. Who would have thought the eldest family would blame the third family for sending nice things that spoiled their child? What a betrayal. If they were worried about spoiling their child, they could have refused the gifts. Accepting them and then criticizing others is just wrong. Tomorrow, she would have her husband write a letter telling Xiao and Mo not to send anything to them anymore. Doing good deeds shouldn't lead to trouble. What a misfortune for the family to have such a daughter-in-law. When she introduced her eldest son to her, she thought the other party's parents were honest and skilled, which is why she agreed to the match. But who would have thought they raised such a daughter? This person isn't blessed. They can't handle a better life and cause all sorts of trouble. Compared to the angry father and daughter, Lu Boming's expression was much calmer. When Lu Xingjuan and Lu Weiguo were born, it was during a time of war. He was busy secretly supporting the resistance and had no time for family matters. Lu Qing'an and his wife were focused on making a living and had little energy to care for the children, so they were mostly left to fend for themselves. After the country was established and things settled down, the children were already growing up and their personalities were set. It was hard to teach them new things. Lu Boming saw that although they had some flaws, their nature wasn't bad, so he didn't interfere much and focused on raising Lu Changzheng, who was just starting to understand things. Among his 4 grandchildren, only Lu Changzheng and Lu Xiaolan received Lu Boming's guidance, especially Lu Changzheng, who was practically raised by him. As for the first 2 grandsons, Lu Boming didn't have high expectations. He just hoped they could live stable lives. Though he loved all his grandchildren, he admitted he favored Lu Changzheng a bit more. After all, he raised him and saw the most potential in him, so he used his connections to help Lu Changzheng. but he felt he hadn't wronged the first two. These two benefited greatly from the family and relied on it. Whenever there was something good at home, how much could the three elders use? It was all shared with the two families. Unfortunately, they were too narrow-minded and always caused trouble over small things. The eldest and second sons were both in their 30s, almost 40, and he was tired of dealing with them. However, the younger grandchildren were still small and could be taught well, so it was best to keep them away from their unclear-headed parents. So when Lu Chongjun called him, he told him the truth about the family's situation. Fortunately, Lu Chongjun thought similarly. After Lu Xingjuan and his wife finished arguing, they both found each other unpleasant, but called Lu Fengqin over to explain the situation. 3 options: study, work in the fields, or join the army. Choose one. Lu Fengqin had already heard their argument and made her choice. She really didn't want to study. She wasn't suited for it. Working in the fields was even less appealing. Once she did that, she'd be stuck in Lejiakan for life with no future. After thinking it over, joining the army was her only option. Being a telephone operator would be fine. It was still somewhat respectable. She could work for a couple of years and then ask her third uncle to transfer her to Yangcheng. However, Lu Fengqin didn't expect that once she joined the army, she would be sent to the toughest place and trained hard for 2 years. Okay, I'll talk to your third uncle tomorrow. But let me be clear, joining the army means you have to endure hardships. If you can't handle it and try to run away or break the rules and get sent back, you'll embarrass your third uncle. Then you can leave our family. You won't be my daughter anymore. Do you understand? Lu Xingjuan's voice was very stern. I understand, Lu Fengqin replied timidly. The next morning, Lu Xiaolan didn't go to work but rode her bike straight to the post office to call Su Mo. She had almost burst from holding in her feelings all night. She needed to talk to Sansa. Lu Xiaolan often corresponded with Su Mo, who had given her the phone number from Gaudi Street for urgent matters. As luck would have it, when Lu Xiaolan called, Su Mo was riding her bike past the archway, and Suapa quickly called her over, saying she had a call. When Su Mo answered, Lu Xiaolan immediately recounted what had happened yesterday.
什么?
This really showed that you can know a person's face but not their heart. Usually, Lu Yuji acted like a good sister-in-law in front of her, never saying a harsh word, and even sending mountain goods every year. She thought she was a good person, but it turned out she thought like this. What a biting dog that doesn't bark. Don't be upset, Xiaolan. I won't send anything anymore. It's not like she had money to waste. At this time, family ties were still very strong, especially in rural areas. Family matters could be messy behind closed doors, but they shouldn't embarrass themselves in front of outsiders. If Lu Chongjun, such a high-ranking officer, only cared about himself and showed no regard for his brothers, he would definitely be criticized. She didn't want Lu Chongjun to have a bad reputation in the village. Besides, sending things just 2 or 3 times a year didn't cost much, and it wasn't worth making things awkward over a small amount of money. So, Su Mo had always sent things this way. Both the first and second families would also send her some mountain goods each year. She was always happy to receive the mountain goods, thinking they felt the same way, but it seemed she had assumed too much. Sansa, I just feel wronged. How did our good intentions turn into this in her mouth? Xiaolan, as long as we know we did nothing wrong, that's enough. We can't control how others think. Now that we know, we should just keep our distance. If it weren't for our parents still being here, I wouldn't want to come back. It was quite suffocating. After Su Mo comforted Lu Xiaolan for a bit, they hung up the phone. Su Mo hung up the phone and went to the new shop to wait for the delivery of the custom glass display case and sign. In the new store, in addition to the original pastries, they also added a section for cooked food. They will offer popular dishes like char siu, roast duck, roast goose, white-cut chicken, soy sauce chicken, and pig's head meat. The nearby area is filled with large factories, and the workers are well paid. As long as the food tastes good, they won't have trouble selling it. They have already found a chef for this, who used to be a head chef at a state-run restaurant. He was pushed out due to being framed, and has been struggling for the past 2 years. When Su Tingqian approached him, He agreed, without hesitation. Chef Wu has been eager to return to doing what he loves. He is determined to show those who looked down on him what he can do. Soon, the food from the state-run restaurant will be outdone by a small street shop, and they will have no face left. Of course, Chef Wu's pay will not be the same as the helpers, who are paid daily. Su Tingqian offered him a salary of 80 yuan a month, with 4 days off and some gifts during holidays, which is similar to what the factory offers. Su Mo waited a short while at the new shop before the sign was delivered. After checking it, she directed the workers to hang it up and covered it with red cloth, waiting to unveil it on opening day. The sign features the shop's name, Su Family Eatery. They plan to expand into a chain, using the same name for future locations. Then, the custom shelves and glass cases were delivered one after another, and Su Mo directed the workers to set them up. At that moment, 2 passing female workers stopped to ask Su Mo, "Pretty lady, what are you going to do here?" They had been curious about the place for days. Everything was dusty, except for this building, which was freshly painted white and had a large window facing the street, now covered with red cloth. "We're opening an eatery, selling snacks like buns, rice dumplings, and also cooked foods like roast duck, roast goose, and white-cut chicken. We're opening early the day after tomorrow, so remember to come support us, ladies. On the first day, we have the buy 2 get 1 free deal on pastries and 20% off cooked food, but supplies are limited. First come, first served." "Got it. We'll come by to check it out," the 2 female workers said as they walked away. Locals in Guangdong are not very picky about clothing, but they are very particular about food. As long as it tastes good, they are willing to pay any price to try it. That's why there is a saying, "Food is in Guangdong." In the afternoon, Lu Changzheng called Lu Xingjuan again. After confirming that Lu Fengqin would join the army, he asked Lu Xingjuan to prepare, as he would have Tao Peixing send the application soon. After hanging up, Lu Changzheng called someone he knew. After so many years, this was the first time he had asked for something, and the person naturally agreed. "All right, I'll make sure to find a good place for your niece," the person said.
Don't.
"Let me finish. My niece hasn't been raised well by my brother and sister-in-law. I want to send her to the army while she's still young to straighten her out. Wherever it's tough and demanding, that's where she should go." The person thought for a moment and replied, "There is a place like that. The environment isn't great, it's quite hard and remote, and it has to be kept secret. She probably won't be able to contact home for a year or 2. "Is it dangerous?" "Not really, it's logistics work, but the conditions are tough. Usually such jobs are assigned to male soldiers, but some tasks can only be done by female soldiers. There are few female soldiers in the army, and most who join have connections. Many are reluctant to go to such tough places, which is why they consider new recruits." Lu Changzhen was pleased. He wanted exactly that kind of place. "No problem. Let's send her there." "Brother, thank you. I'll treat you to drinks next time." "Sure. But we need to act fast. They need people urgently. Once we recruit her, we have to train her for at least a month before sending her. Fill out the application form quickly and send it to the armed forces." "Okay, I'll have old Tao send the application form over." After discussing the necessary steps, they called Tao Peixing. That evening, Tao Peixing delivered the application form to the Lu family, asking them to fill it out that night, as a soldier would come by in the morning to take it to the armed forces. "Is it that urgent?" Lu Xingjuan asked. "Yes, this recruitment is special, and it's only because old Lu asked that we got a spot," Tao Peixing replied. "All right, we'll fill it out tonight." "Thank you, Commander Tao. I'm brothers with old Lu, no need to be so polite," Tao Peixing said. "I should mention, you better explain it clearly to the child before filling it out. Once you join, there's no turning back. Being a soldier isn't as easy as it seems. If she can't handle it and becomes a deserter, it will affect the younger siblings who want to join." He had heard that the unit she was going to was quite tough, and it wouldn't be easy for a young girl. Lu Fengqin happened to be nearby, so Lu Xingjuan called her over. "Did you hear? If you go and don't do well, it won't just affect you, it will also impact your younger siblings. You need to think carefully. If you're sure you want to go, I'll fill out this form for you. But let me be clear, if you desert, I won't recognize you anymore, and don't come back to Lu family village, just stay away." Lu Fengqin's face turned pale, and she gritted her teeth. I've thought it through. I won't. It's just a few months of training. She can handle it. With everything settled, Tao Peixing left. The next morning, a passing transport truck came to pick up the application form and took it to the armed forces. In just 3 days, the armed forces sent someone to take Lu Fengqin away. One person joining the army brings honor to the whole family, and Lu Xingjuan even bought 2 strings of firecrackers to celebrate. Lu Fengqin smiled. When her aunt got into university, Grandpa set off firecrackers, and now she could have the family celebrate her too. The family sent Lu Fengqin, dressed in her new military uniform and wearing a big red flower, onto the truck for the armed forces, watching until it was out of sight before heading home. Once back, Lu Yuji curiously asked, why was it so urgent this time? When the third one joined, it wasn't like this. Didn't you hear Commander Tao say this is a special recruitment? It's because the third one used his connections to get this spot. But our director's niece also got selected, and she wasn't in such a hurry. Is this special recruitment for a communications officer or something? Lu Yuji's sentence was cut off by Lu Xingjuan, who told you she's going to be a communications officer. The third one said Fengqin is going to a secret unit, and once she's there, her future will be bright. What secret unit? I already said it's a secret unit. How could I tell you what it is? Lu Xingjuan glared at her. How will we write to Fengqin later? Secret units don't allow letters. When Fengqin comes out, she will contact us. What? Lu Yuji's voice rose an octave. Lu Xingjuan, how can you be so heartless, sending our daughter to a place where we can't contact her? What if something happens? Shut up. What could happen? There are many jobs in secret units. Does your third uncle want his niece to go to her death? You really have no vision. The third one is considering your daughter's future, and you're here complaining. If you have the ability, arrange it yourself. Always needing others to arrange things and then criticizing. Do you want someone to arrange for your daughter to be a military district commander? Who do you think you are? Do you think you have that much influence? Does everyone have to cater to you? Lu Yuji was furious after being scolded by Lu Xingjuan. She grabbed her clothes, rode her bike, and went back to her parents' home. While Lu Fengqin was waiting to join the army, the Su family's food shop opened in Yangcheng. On the opening day, Su Yuan specially contacted a lion dance team, which performed for over half an hour at the shop entrance during peak hours. The sound of drums and firecrackers filled the air, along with the exciting lion dance, truly capturing everyone's attention. Anyone passing by would stop to take a look. This way, the Su family's food shop was remembered by the nearby workers. Lion dancing is a tradition in Guangdong province. It was banned during turbulent times, but after the movement ended, it gradually resumed as the atmosphere relaxed. However, after being restricted for so long, many people were hesitant to be the first to try new things. The lion dance team had been practicing for over a year, but had not had the chance to perform. When Su Yuan reached out, the lion dance practitioners readily agreed, even without asking for payment. But the Su family wasn't looking to take advantage. After negotiating, Su Yuan gave them a red envelope with 10 yuan. The lion dance team knew opportunities were rare, so on the opening day, they performed exceptionally well, showcasing many impressive skills that drew a crowd. At one point, the entrance of the food shop was packed. However, most were just there to watch, with few actually buying anything. The real business picked up after the night shift workers finished their shifts. Night shift workers usually got off at 8 p.m., and by the time they cleaned up and passed by the food shop, it was already around 8:10. By then, the lion dance team had left, but the festive atmosphere lingered. Su Yuan grabbed a loudspeaker and shouted, "New shop opening. Buy 2 get 1 free." Some curious families would stop to check it out. Although the factory had a canteen, the food was repetitive, and those who could afford it still preferred to treat themselves outside. The siblings were savvy. They had already prepared some steamed buns and cut them up, along with some pancakes, serving them on clean plates. When they saw customers, they offered samples with bamboo skewers. At this time, working people tended to be more dignified, especially those from big factories, who valued their image and were less likely to take advantage. Having tasted the food, most who tried it ended up buying. Soon, they made a good sale. During the renovation, they expanded the kitchen, built an earthen oven for roasted meats, and added a few more cooking stations. Master Wu worked there from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. By noon, Master Wu's cooked dishes began to come out, filling the shop with mouth-watering aromas that even passers-by couldn't resist. Before long, golden, crispy roasted ducks, geese, chickens, and ribs were displayed in the glass cabinet, attracting many onlookers. At that moment, a grandmother and her grandson passed by. The little boy, smelling the delicious food, insisted on having some. The grandmother had no choice but to ask, "Young man, how much is your roasted meat?" "Grandma, we sell by weight. Roasted goose is 1.5 yuan per pound, roasted duck is 1.3, roasted chicken is 1.5, roasted ribs are 1.2, pig's head meat is 1, and char siu is 1.4. A large price list was posted on the white wall behind them, but the grandmother couldn't read. "Today is the opening. Everything is 20% off. It's a great deal. Would you like to try a pound?" The old lady frowned. "Why is it so expensive? Prices are almost double what they are in the market." "Grandma, it's different. We sell cooked food. A pound of raw meat only yields about 0.8 pounds of cooked food. Plus, in the market, you need meat coupons to buy meat, but here, no coupons are needed for cooked food. You have to go to the small market for meat without coupons, and even raw meat costs 1.5. Isn't that right, Grandma? Moreover, our chef for roasted goose comes from a state-run restaurant. You'll see once you try it," Su Yuan said, pulling out a bamboo skewer and offering a small piece of meat to the grandmother to taste. The price of raw meat at the small market can't compare to the skill of a chef from a state-run restaurant. And with a 20% discount today, it's even more worth it. After tasting, the grandmother agreed it was good. Her son was a factory manager, and she had dined at big restaurants before. It was indeed comparable. She said, "I'll take a pound of roasted goose."
Great.
Su Yuan responded, quickly chopping a pound of roasted goose, wrapping it in oil paper, and handing it to the grandmother. "Grandma, take care. Next time you come, bring a lunchbox, and I'll give you some roasted goose sauce. It's delicious over rice." While Su Yuan was chopping the roasted goose for the grandmother, Su Mo and Master Wu also prepared some small pieces of other cooked dishes for the onlookers to sample. Most of the crowd were locals out shopping. While not everyone bought something, more than half did. "Cut me half a pound of pig's head meat, the ear part. I'll take a pound of roasted ribs. I want half a roasted chicken." "Sure, just a moment." The siblings smiled, one handling payments and weighing, while the other chopped and cut, providing attentive service. Seeing that his cooked food was selling well, Master Wu felt relieved. Finding a job was not easy, and he feared he might lose this one if sales didn't pick up. In fact, Master Wu was overthinking. The prices of the cooked food at the Su family shop were not high compared to the free market. Cheap meat required coupons, but those were limited each month. Families with better conditions often found their meat coupons insufficient and had to buy from the small market. Now, the cooked food sold here was not more expensive than the small market, didn't require coupons, and tasted good. Over time, word would spread, and sales would only increase. When the early shift workers finished, the shop saw another wave of customers, but the most popular items remained the roasted meats, while the pastries sold less. Su Yuan laughed. "Big factory workers have money. They buy meat without a second thought. It seems we can only sell pastries in the morning." Today, everyone was attracted by the lion dance. "Tomorrow morning, we need to promote breakfast to get people used to buying it here," Su Yuan said, looking at the leftover pastries. Around 6 o'clock, the early shift workers finished and the night shift workers arrived, so the siblings tidied up and closed the shop. They had some leftover roasted goose and chicken to take home for dinner. The remaining buns were taken to sell at the train station. Counting the day's earnings, they made 144.3 yuan, which was lower than the opening day at the train station, and most of this revenue came from the cooked food. The profit from cooked food was not as high as from pastries, and with the discount today, the profit was only around 30 to 40 yuan. Making some noise without losing money is fine. Today, our Su family food shop has made a name for itself, and it will only get better from here, Su Yun said optimistically. After cleaning up, the siblings locked the door and rode their sidecar motorcycle to the train station with the remaining items. This sidecar motorcycle was obtained through connections from Su Tingda for 700 yuan. It was said to be retired from a frontline unit and had some power issues, making it unsuitable for rough terrain. Originally, it was to be returned to the local police, but they managed to get one. Though it was used, at this time, ordinary people couldn't afford motorcycles, and cars were even more out of reach, so it would suffice for now. The main reason for the motorcycle was that the distance from their home was a bit far. Riding a bicycle would take about an hour, making deliveries inconvenient. With the motorcycle, they could reach the station in half an hour. The next day, Su Yun started shouting with the loudspeaker early, and the sales of pastries indeed increased compared to yesterday. The second day's revenue was 156 yuan, with the increase mainly coming from pastries, while cooked food sales dropped slightly since there were no discounts. On the third day, the revenue was 163 yuan. On the fourth day, it was 178 yuan. On the fifth day, it reached 184 yuan. After that, the revenue fluctuated around 180 yuan. This was the initial revenue, and as time went on, it should gradually increase. A week after the new shop opened, Ma Xiaojun arrived in Yangcheng. Su Mo specifically went to the train station's small shop that day. When she heard the announcement that Ma Xiaojun's train had arrived, she went to the exit to meet her. Su Mo, Ma Xiaojun, carrying a bag, looked around and rushed over as soon as she spotted Su Mo. Did you eat some magical fruit on the train? How come you haven't changed at all? You still look so smooth and radiant. Su Mo still looked like a girl in her late teens, showing no signs of being a mother of a 5 or 6-year-old. Since giving birth, she felt like she had aged a lot. Did you eat honey on the train? Your words are so sweet. I'm just being honest. Do I look more haggard than before? After sitting on a train for several days, September 1st, the first day of school, Su Mo took Enen and Lulu to a nearby elementary school to register, pay the tuition, and collect their books. The tuition was 3.7 yuan per person per semester, and there were 3 books: Chinese, math, and moral education. In this period, there were no preschool classes. Children went directly to first grade. Su Mo glanced through the textbooks. The previous year's books had slogans praising leaders, but this year's books featured portraits of great leaders and current officials. The content of the textbooks had also changed. Previous books included many slogans about class struggle and the Cultural Revolution, which were now gone. Su Mo packed the books into the children's backpacks and led them to their class, Grade 1, Class 2. After watching them find their seats, she left. The children's backpacks were issued by the management office of the residential area, military green bags printed with Serve the People. Every child in the area received one each year. All the children from the residential area carried these bags, so Su Mo didn't make an exception and had her children use them too. Meanwhile, in Lijiakan village, Lu Aiqin and Lu Guodong were also heading to the commune for middle school. After 2 consecutive years of college entrance exams, many educated youths returned home this year, and more families in the village began to value education. About 20 children were set to attend middle school this year, adding to the 30 or so who are already in school. The village leaders discussed how to make it easier for the children to get to school. They decided to run the tractor twice a day to transport the kids, charging each child 50 cents a month for the fare. Parents willing to send their children to middle school were happy to pay the 50 cents without hesitation. Living at school cost an additional 2 yuan for accommodation, plus they had to bring food and firewood. What worried them most was that their children might associate with the wrong crowd and go astray. The village secretary's granddaughter had been very diligent, but after boarding school, she got into bad habits and stopped wanting to work, only thinking about eating well and dressing nicely. Fortunately, she had a good uncle who arranged for her to join the army. Otherwise, with her attitude, no family would want to marry her. To prevent their own children from going astray, parents were willing to spend the money. The children's success was what mattered. Sumo's school started in mid-September, and during these days, she helped at the shop during the day and returned to the residential area at night. Once she and Su Yuan started school, Su's family shop would be temporarily managed by Su Tingqian and Master Wu, while Mo Yulong would still run the small store. Wang Suimei helped deliver goods every noon to give Mo Yulong a break. On the 3rd, Lu Chongzheng was writing a training summary in his office when he suddenly received a call from the logistics department saying that the school had called for the parents of Lu Heian and Lu Yanhe to come to school. Actually, the school's call had gone to the management office of the residential area. Since Su and Mo was not home and no one was available at the office, they called the logistics department to inform Lu Chongzheng. Lu Chongzheng raised an eyebrow. Did something happen just 3 days into the school year? He drove to the school quickly and found the first-grade teacher's office. He expected to see a group of students standing in punishment, but found none. After stating his purpose, a middle-aged teacher with glasses quickly stood up. "Comrade Lu, hello, please sit. I am the homeroom teacher for grade 1, class 2, Ms. Kai. We called the parents today to discuss a few matters." Lu Chongzheng sat down politely. "Hello, Teacher Kai. I am Lu Chongzheng, the father of Lu Heian and Lu Yanhe. Please let me know what you need. I will fully cooperate with the school." Teacher Kai got up and poured a glass of water for Lu Chongzheng. "Have the 2 children attended school before?" "They haven't been to school, but they attended 3 years of kindergarten. Their mother is a university graduate and taught them relevant knowledge when they were young."
No wonder.
Teacher Kai responded. "Comrade Lu, I tested the 2 children this morning and found that they have already mastered the knowledge from grades 1 and 2, Teacher Kai said, handing Lu Chongzheng several test papers. "These are the final exam papers for grades 1 and 2 from last semester. I tested Heian and Yanhe, and they both scored full marks." Teacher Kai was a responsible teacher. Whenever new students arrived, she would carefully observe them for a few days and then guide them based on their situation. During her observation, she noticed that while other children looked at the pictures in the textbooks, the 2 siblings focused on the text. She also found that they had already attempted the questions at the back of the book. Intrigued, Teacher Kai called the 2 children to her office and showed them the previous semester's final exam papers for 1st grade, intending to see how much they had learned. To her surprise, they scored full marks. She also had a few 2nd grade final exam papers nearby, which she gave them to try, and they scored full marks again. This was remarkable. After learning about their background, she reported the situation to the grade director and then called the parents. "I called the parents today to discuss their opinions. After discussing with the grade director, since the children have fully mastered the knowledge from grades 1 and 2, they can directly advance to grade 3. Now, we need to know the parents' opinions. It depends on what the children want. Their mother and I have always respected their wishes. If they want to advance, we have no objections. If they don't, we will support that too," Lu Chongzheng replied. Teacher Kai was somewhat surprised. It was rare to see parents who respected their children's opinions in those times. Since the school was near the military district, most students were children of military families. Many parents she had encountered were quite authoritarian, making decisions without consulting their children. "Let me call them in," Teacher Kai said, going to fetch the 2 children. In the office, Lu Chongzheng relayed Teacher Kai's proposal to them, asking, "This is your decision. We respect your wishes." The 2 siblings immediately replied in unison, "We want to skip a grade." They really didn't want to stay in 1st grade learning basic things like the alphabet and numbers. It felt like a waste of time. Teacher Kai had noticed their differences because they had intentionally shown her. After 2 or 3 years of training, how could they not notice someone secretly observing them? They decided to play along, hoping to leave 1st grade early through Teacher Kai's help. Their original plan was to advance to 2nd grade, but they never expected things to go so smoothly that they would go directly to 3rd grade. Lu Chongzheng gave them a knowing look, realizing they had orchestrated this themselves. Just days before school started, his wife had told them not to stand out, and now they were skipping grades. "All right, since the children want to skip a grade, let's do it. Teacher Kai, what procedures do we need to follow?" Teacher Kai took Lu Chongzheng to complete the paperwork, paid the textbook fees, and collected the 3rd grade books. The siblings were placed in grade 3, class 1, and they didn't have school on Sunday, so they would start attending class on Monday. After finishing the paperwork, it was almost time for school to end, so Lu Chongjing decided to wait for the two children to finish before heading home together. Once in the car, Lu Chongjing asked, "So, what happened? Why do you want to skip a grade?" "Dad, first grade knowledge is too easy. We already understand it, and we don't want to waste time," they replied. "Did you forget what your mother told you?" "No," Lula quickly waved his hand. "Once we get to third grade, we won't forget." Lu Chongjing gave him a look that said, "At least you know what's good for you," and drove home. In the evening, when Su Imo returned, Lu Chongjing told her about the day's events.
什么?
The reason she wanted the two to keep a low profile was that she knew a child prodigy would soon be reported in the news, influencing an entire generation. This 13-year-old boy could recite over 30 poems by the age of 2.5, started learning traditional Chinese medicine at 6, and could play Go and recite water margin at 8, mastering various subjects like astronomy and geography. During a special period, many people were hesitant about education, and to reignite the learning atmosphere, a remarkable figure was needed to inspire others. After restoring order, the country was eager to rebuild, and leaders had recognized that science and technology are productive forces. The slogan "Cultivate talent early" and quickly would soon become popular. Su Imo wanted her children to keep a low profile to avoid drawing attention and being singled out as examples. If a person carries the expectations of millions, the pressure can be immense. Even a small mistake could be magnified. She didn't want her children to live like that. Su Imo called the two children over and emphasized again, "Mom, we understand. Everyone knows we trained early and Grandpa arranged for someone to teach us academic knowledge. When Teacher Kai asked us, we said we had already studied up to third grade," and then explained. "All right, just be careful not to stand out too much. We can talk about it again when the situation stabilizes." And after Mr. Jean introduced them, he asked the two children to take their seats. Once the procedures for the two children skipping grades were completed, the logistics department added 2 desks to class 3-1 yesterday. Although the two kids had good genes and were taller than their peers, they were actually just over 5 years old, and compared to the 8- and 9-year-olds in the class, they were still a bit short. Seeing this, Mr. Jean moved their seats to the front, right in front of Su Zhengyu. After settling in, Lele cheerfully turned to Su Zhengyu and said, "Su Zhengyu, I can't believe we're classmates now." Su Zhengyu huffed and ignored Lele. He knew this smiling trickster had too many schemes, and he didn't want to get caught up in any of them. In this school, more than half of the students were from military families, so everyone already knew each other. Within 2 class periods, the news of the two kids skipping grades spread quickly. During the break, Su Zhengyu's followers came to find him. "Brother Yu, I heard the two from the Lu family moved to your class?" Su Zhengyu nodded, looking very displeased.
"Should we?"
"Are you still not tired of getting beaten up?"
Su Zhengyu asked.
The boy instantly fell silent. Although Su Zhengyu was now under strict supervision at home, he still had the influence of being a little tyrant. Among their group, he remained the leader. After the two kids stopped attending preschool, they often wandered around the military compound, so they ran into each other quite a bit. He didn't dare provoke Nen, but he wanted to teach Lele a lesson secretly. However, Lele was slippery and always managed to dodge him, often turning the tables and tricking them instead. To make matters worse, Lele was good-looking and charming, and many older women in the compound adored him. A few pitiful words from him would have everyone on his side, and it always ended with one of them getting a good beating. Over time, they learned not to provoke him anymore because he was a smiling tiger, looking innocent and cute on the outside but quite cunning inside. Don't go provoking those two. Let's stick to how things were before. Of course, if they come after us, we won't hold back. We'll teach them a lesson, Su Zhengyu said. And you all need to study hard during this time. With them skipping to third grade, the compound will know soon, and then we'll have to compete with them in studies. Hearing this, his followers looked miserable. Now they had to compete in both academics and physical activities. Was there no room for happy childhood anymore? As Su Zhengyu predicted, that evening, his grandfather came home and mentioned this issue. He said the country was now emphasizing education, and all the old officials were being urged to study harder, with many mid-level officials being sent for further training. Then he turned to Su Zhengyu's mother, asking her to spend more time helping him with his studies. If she couldn't manage, she could hire a tutor to come home. Many families had similar conversations that night, especially those with someone in a high position. At their age, they were basically at the end of their own education, and the competition was now about their children. Time flew by, and soon it was the end of December. At this time, the country issued an important directive. Young educators still in rural areas who did not wish to stay could return to the city in batches within 2 years through procedures like medical retirement, hardship retirement, replacement, or job transfers. However, 2 groups were not allowed to return. Those who married locally lost their status as young educators and could not come back, and those who were recruited locally also could not return. Suddenly, young educators across the country were in an uproar, sharing the news, and long lines formed outside local young educator offices. They first submitted applications at the local offices, which would then send them to the original offices of the young educators. If approved, they would receive a notice allowing them to return. The situation arose due to numerous gatherings and petitions from young educators demanding to return to the city. Many leaders received letters requesting to go home. With limited spots for college admissions, many who did not pass the exams saw no hope of returning and began to petition on their own. They had been away from home for too long and desperately wanted to return. Ultimately, after multiple discussions among leaders, most agreed to allow young educators to return. The Great Return would become a trend in the coming years. However, returning was not an easy process. With millions of young educators, if they all returned at once, cities would not be able to handle it. Moreover, if a large number returned without jobs and became idle, it would severely impact urban security. Thus, each city had to allow young educators to return in batches based on their capacity. In some areas, young educators had to wait 2 to 3 years. When the news broke, some were happy while others were worried. Those who had jobs and families in the area regretted their decisions. Among them was the son-in-law of Lu Guilin, the women's director of Lu Family Village. One day, Li Wei was busy making a new cotton coat for Lu Qing'an. While she was working, she heard someone calling her from the door and invited them in. "Sister-in-law, are you making a new cotton coat?" Lu Guilin asked. "Yes, making a new one for the old man to wear during the new year. His coat is several years old and no longer warm," Li Wei replied with a smile. Lu Guilin glanced at it and exclaimed, "Using corduroy for the lining? That must be so warm." Sister Yue is really generous. She didn't even use cotton fabric. Corduroy costs about 1.2 yuan per foot, while cotton fabric is only 0.28 yuan. This was sent back by my third daughter-in-law a couple of years ago, and I never used it. This year, since it's a good deal, I'm making him something nice to cheer him up, she said, hoping to prevent him from always complaining about having no status at home. "What do you need to see me for?"
Li Wei asked.
Although Lu Guilin was the women's director, she wasn't known for being friendly and rarely visited others. "Sister-in-law, I really need your help with something." "What is it?" "Just tell me. Is your Su Mo from Haisher?" "Yes, she used to be from Haisher, but now her whole family is in Yangcheng and no longer lives in Haisher."
"Well."
Lu Guilin hesitated but finally spoke. "I want Su Mo to help me inquire about a family, but I don't know if it's convenient for her." "I can't say for sure. I need to ask my husband to write a letter to her," Li Wei replied, not wanting to take on the responsibility since Haisher was so big and she didn't know who they were inquiring about. "Writing a letter is too slow." "Sister-in-law, could we call instead? I'll cover the phone bill." Li Wei was surprised. "Why is this so urgent?" Lu Guilin sighed. "It's about my son-in-law. He wants to return to the city and is trying to convince my silly daughter to divorce him. He says he will bring them both over once he settles down." Lu Guilin's daughter married a young educator from Haisher 2 years ago and had a baby last year. "I'm really worried. It just doesn't seem reliable. I didn't agree to their marriage at the time. I could tell my son-in-law wasn't dependable." Unfortunately, her daughter insisted on marrying him, and they couldn't stop her. You can't let him go back, Li Wei said. In the past 2 years, many educated youth who returned to the city gradually lost contact. Many abandoned their spouses and children, and she had heard several cases. My family definitely won't let him leave, but my son-in-law is good at charming people. My daughter is soft-hearted, and she might be tricked into divorce at any time, Lu Guilon sighed. I was thinking your Sumo is in Haishur, so it might be convenient to ask around. I haven't met my in-laws, so I don't know what their character is like. Lu Guilon had another worry. Since her daughter got married, her in-laws had only sent 2 outfits when their grandson was born. Other than that, she rarely received a letter, and she began to doubt if the address her son-in-law provided was even real. She wasn't being overly suspicious. Just 2 years ago, a neighbor from the commune had a similar experience. At the beginning of the year, his wife's family managed to gather money for their daughter to search for her husband in the city, but when they arrived at the address he left, there was no such person. Haishur is so big, and Xiao Mo probably can't find out much. Even in our small Qingxi County, we don't know everyone, Li Wei said. Sister-in-law, I understand. I just wanted to ask if it's possible to help inquire a bit. If it's not convenient, then forget it. With such a clear request, Li Yue couldn't refuse. Early the next morning, Lu Guilon rode her bike with Li Yue to the post office to make a call. Fortunately, they called early, otherwise, Su Mo would have already left for school. Li Yue explained the situation, and Lu Guilon quickly provided her son-in-law's address. It was still a bit far from Sumo's home, but it was possible to inquire. Director Guilon, that place is quite far from my home, and I don't know anyone there. I can ask my classmates, but I can't guarantee I'll find out anything, she said. Ah, that's fine. Thank you so much. I don't need detailed information. I just want to know if such a family exists. Lu Guilon expressed her gratitude, feeling she was troubling them too much. After finishing the call, Su Mo hung up. Long-distance phone calls were like a heavy burden for most rural people. After the call, Lu Guilon went to the supply and marketing cooperative and bought a bag of apples. When she got back, she insisted on giving them to Li Yue. Although Li Yue didn't want them, Lu Guilon was quick and left them behind. Li Yue watched Lu Guilon's retreating figure with some sympathy. Every family has 1 or 2 troublesome members. Besides the educated youth and their relatives, Yang Suyun in Haishur was also troubled by the return of the educated youth. Since having that dream, Yang Suyun had become a bit eccentric. She often compared real-life events with her dreams. When they matched, she was overjoyed. When they didn't, she began to doubt herself. Why did it start early again? It should be the end of 1978, but it started at the end of 1977. This doesn't make sense. Yang Suyun murmured to herself while holding a newspaper. Her roommates, seeing her like this, quickly left. Yang Suyun was becoming stranger by the day. After class, Su Mo went to the train station to help watch the shop and mentioned the morning's call to Mo Yulong. Your Aunt Zheng's younger daughter's in-laws seem to be in that area. You should call and ask, Mo Yulong suggested. Su Mo didn't expect such a coincidence. She really had acquaintances in that area. Once the crowd thinned out, she went to the phone booth at the train station to call the public phone near Zheng Ling's home. After about 10 minutes, when Su Mo called back, Zheng Ling answered. Su Mo explained the situation and coincidentally, Zheng Ling's younger daughter's in-laws lived in the same workers' compound, so there was no need to inquire further. The situation was clear. Zheng Ling said she would go ask tomorrow and told Su Mo to call back in the evening. The next evening, when Su Mo called again, Zheng Ling had already gathered all the information. There is indeed such a family, but they aren't very good. They have a bad reputation in the workers' compound. 9 people are crammed into a 2-bedroom apartment, and I heard they don't even have a place to sleep. The address Lu Guilon provided was in the workers' compound of the Haishur Cotton Spinning Factory No. 17. Her son-in-law, Tang Xiong's grandparents, were originally workers at the factory and had 2 sons, for whom they were allocated a 2-bedroom apartment. As the two sons grew up, they worked temporary jobs at the textile factory, but never got permanent positions. When they reached marriageable age, they married female workers who were also temporary employees. As the elderly couple aged, seeing their sons stuck in temporary jobs, they gave their permanent jobs to them. Temporary workers were not eligible for housing allocation, and the elderly couple's housing quota had already been taken by that two-bedroom apartment. Thus, the whole family squeezed into that small space, and as more people joined, the conflicts were inevitable. Tang Xiong's father was the eldest, having 3 children, with Tang Xiong being the oldest, followed by a younger sister and brother. Tang Xiong's second uncle also had 2 sons. Tang Xiong, his sister, and his second uncle's eldest son all went to the countryside, leaving 1 young son from each family at home. Earlier this year, Tang Xiong's second uncle's son fell ill and returned home. Xiao Mo, I don't recommend your fellow townsman coming here. If she comes, there will be no place to stay. It's better to be comfortable in the countryside. I heard that his second uncle's 2 sons still share a room with their parents and can't even dare to date. After learning the details from Zhengling, Su Mo called Lu Jia village to inform Lu Guilin. After hanging up, Lu Guilin returned home with a dark expression, feeling very upset. Tang Xiong played a clever game. He didn't lie, but he wasn't honest either. When they first asked about his family situation, he said his parents were workers at the textile factory and lived in a 2-bedroom apartment. However, he didn't clarify that the apartment was not just for his family, but shared with many people. It was also their fault for not asking more details since they thought they were settling down here. Lu Guilin's in-laws were quite well off, one of the few families in the village that could afford a brick house. Moreover, since Lu Jia village was recognized as an advanced brigade, their annual work points were pretty good. To be honest, families with strong laborers who lived carefully could save more money each year than many urban worker families. When her daughter married Tang Xiong, they helped build a 3-room mud house for the young couple to live in. Lu Guilin had 1 son and 1 daughter, with her daughter being the youngest. When she was born, Lu Guilin accidentally fell and caused her to be premature, almost not surviving. Therefore, she was always delicate, and the family doted on her, which made her soft-hearted and lacking in cunning. At first, she was against the marriage, but later her husband said it was fine to marry an educated youth, and they supported building a house so they could settle down nearby. Seeing her daughter truly liked Tang Xiong, she finally relented. After passing on the information she learned, Su Mo set it aside and continued to focus on her own matters. Time flew by, and soon it was 1978. 1978 was a very important year in the history of China, marking the 3rd major historical change of the 20th century and the beginning of reform and opening up. Many significant decisions were proposed and established this year, laying the groundwork for future development. On January 1, 1978, CCTV's news broadcast, which would become the viewing king of China for decades, officially launched. It became a window for the Chinese people to understand major domestic and international events, serving as a political and economic barometer. In January, a major event occurred in the family compound. Gas was about to be supplied. The civilian gas supply in Yangcheng started relatively late, with preparations beginning in August 1974. By the end of 1975, Maoming Petroleum Company supplied liquefied petroleum gas for promotional trials, and gas was officially supplied in April 1976. Due to the limited gas type, only liquefied petroleum gas, and insufficient supply, along with various reasons, the installation progressed very slowly, and the military family compound was only scheduled for installation in January. This was a convenience project, with a connection fee of 10 yuan per household, but since the houses belonged to the military, this cost was covered by the unit. The gas fee was 0.08 yuan per cubic meter, with a monthly limit of 50 cubic meters per household. Any excess would be charged at 0.20 yuan per cubic meter. During installation, someone had to be home, and with final exams coming up next week and classes focused on review, Su Mo took a half-day off to stay home, and so did Wang Suimei. As the new year began, the workshop signed a contract with 3 long-time employees. Wang Tsueme, Sister Miao, and Auntie Xia. Each would earn 55 yuan a month, have 4 days off, and receive holiday benefits. Although it seemed like a few yuan less, the actual benefits had improved. With 4 days off each month and a signed contract, their jobs were secure and they no longer had to worry about suddenly being out of work. The 3 women were not foolish and signed without hesitation, as it meant they now had stable jobs. After the installation, Wang Tsueme tried cooking and, seeing the orange-yellow flames and feeling the heat, asked, "Sumo, do you think cooking with this is cheaper than using coal?" Wang Tsueme's family had a monthly quota of 125 coal balls, costing 4.25 yuan each month. Of course, you'll only need about 30 or 40 cubic meters of gas a month for cooking and bathing. Even if you use 40 cubic meters, that's just 3.20 yuan for gas, Sumo replied. She was also looking forward to gas being installed on Gaudi Street and Beijing Road soon, so that using gas would just mean paying for it, without needing to rely on connections to get coal. That saves a whole yuan a month, Wang Tsueme smiled. The government really cares about helping people live better lives. This gas burns well, cooks quickly, and is cheap. It would be great if everyone could use it. In her hometown, winter snow required a lot of firewood. This year, her father went to chop wood and fell, and her younger brother wrote to say he broke his leg. She immediately sent back 30 yuan for her father to use, and Zheng Guosheng didn't dare say anything. This shows that having a job is important for standing tall. In mid-January, the 2 little ones had their final exams. Thanks to Sumo's reminders, the 2 kids kept a low profile, managing their grades well. They excelled but didn't stand out too much, never coming in first, but consistently placing in the top 5. After the exams, due to their special abilities, Anan wanted to visit the north, so Sumo arranged for the 2 kids to go home for the new year. Lu Chongjing had work and couldn't return. Sumo also needed to stay in Yangqing to watch the shop, while Su Tiqian and his wife planned to take advantage of their holiday to finalize the shop in Haishur. So the 2 kids went back alone. Sumo bought them plane tickets to Beijing and called Gung Chongqing, asking him to meet the kids at the airport and help them buy tickets to Harbin. In Harbin, Lu Xiaolan would pick them up, and the 3 of them would return to Lijiakan together. Sumo took the kids to the airport, explained everything clearly, and left after they boarded. At this time, the plane was still primarily for military personnel, and the flight attendants were logistic soldiers. They were surprised to see the 2 kids carrying their own bags without any adults. "Little comrades, where are your parents?" "My dad is busy with military training, and my mom is over there," Lele said with a smile, pointing to Sumo, who was still at the boarding gate watching them. "Isn't your mom coming with you?" "No, she's in college and hasn't finished her exams yet. We're going home first to celebrate the new year with our grandparents. Uncle from the PLA, my dad, is also a soldier. He always teaches us to be independent. Don't worry, this is our 3rd flight. We're not scared. When we get to Beijing, our uncle will pick us up." So they were military dependents. No wonder the kids were so brave. The soldiers' impression of them instantly improved. "All right, you can board now. Be careful on the stairs, and you know your seat numbers, right?" "We know. We're in the 3rd grade." The soldier patted Lele's head and smiled. "Then go ahead. Just put your bags by your feet. I'll help you put them in the overhead compartment later." "Okay. Thank you, Uncle," Lele sweetly replied. Watching the 2 kids' backs, the soldier sighed, thinking if his own child had half the sense of these kids, he would wake up smiling from his dreams. Once everyone boarded, the soldier helped the kids place their bags in the overhead compartment, paying special attention to them along the way. He even secretly took 2 small cakes and 2 bottles of drinks for them. This plane had just hosted a group of foreign guests, and there were still some snacks and drinks left over for the crew. Since he found the kids adorable, he took some from his share to give to them. After the plane landed, the soldier stayed with the kids, waiting for all the other passengers to leave before personally escorting them to the exit. Once he saw them safely taken by Gung Chongqing's people, he felt relieved. "Old Wei, are these kids your relatives?" "No, I just felt a connection with them." Old Wei smiled. These kids were brave enough to fly alone at such a young age, showing no fear. They would surely do well in the future, and he considered it a good deed. Gung Chongqing initially thought his transfer to the capital city was just temporary. He never expected to stay for over a year. When the secretary brought the two little ones in, Gung Chongqing was discussing business with Yi Wenbin. These two must be Sumo's kids, right? Yi Wenbin asked, noticing their resemblance to her. Gung Chongqing nodded. Come here, Yi Wenbin waved. What are your names? Do you remember me? You met me when you were little. Uncle Yi, I remember you, Lele said with a big smile. My name is Lele, but my full name is Lu Yanhe. This is my sister Anin. Her full name is Lu Heian. Although Anin was quiet, she politely said hello, Uncle Yi, and then turned to Gung Chongqing and said, hello, Uncle. Yi Wenbin laughed. No, don't call him that. It's strange. Just call him Uncle Gung. He's actually a few years younger than me.
Huh.
But he is our uncle, Lele said. Dad said we should be polite and not get the titles wrong. Gung Chongqing shot Yi Wenbin a glance, not wanting to argue about titles. He was indeed their uncle. Are you hungry? No, we're not hungry. A soldier on the plane gave us cake, Lele replied. Then wait a bit. After I finish work, I'll take you out to eat, Gung Chongqing said, motioning for the kids to sit on the nearby sofa. How is your mom doing in school?
Yi Wenbin asked.
He felt it was a pity that Su Mo was studying, but everyone has their own goals, so he didn't say much. Pretty good. Mom always gets first place in her exams, Lele said proudly.
Hey.
Yi Wenbin chuckled at Lele's enthusiasm. Have you started school? What's your rank? Yes, I'm in 3rd grade now, and I got 3rd place. I'll aim for first next time. Yi Wenbin was surprised. Sumo's kids seemed only 5 or 6 years old. How are they already in 3rd grade? You started school so early? Not really, we just started this year, but we skipped a grade, Lele said, looking like a little genius. Yi Wenbin ruffled his hair playfully, teasing, You're quite the little rascal. How did you two end up in the capital? Just visiting? We're going home for the new year, stopping here for a night before flying to Harbin tomorrow, Gung Chongqing explained. Su Mo must trust you to let such young kids travel alone. Yi Wenbin thought of praising the kids again but stopped, remembering they were trained by Commander Su from the Guangzhou military region. That commander had been on the battlefield at 9 and had achieved great things. If these two were too scared to fly home alone, it would be a waste of training. After joking with the kids, Yi Wenbin and Gung Chongqing continued their discussion, and then Yi Wenbin left. He was busy too. It hadn't been long since he came to the capital from Guangzhou, and he would likely be sent back soon. But he wouldn't miss the big opportunities ahead. Gung Chongqing worked for a while longer, and around 6 o'clock, he took the kids to a state-run restaurant for dinner, then drove back to the unit's assigned accommodation, a courtyard house. Gung Chongqing now held a deputy provincial-level position, 3 ranks higher than Lu Chongjing and equal to Su Tingda. Naturally, his accommodation was decent, and he had a car assigned to him. Once inside, Anin took out a square leather box from their luggage and handed it to Gung Chongqing. Uncle, this is from Grandpa for you. Inside the box was a jade tiger figurine, said to have been placed in the emperor's bedroom in the past. With the new year approaching and them not being in the capital, some social connections needed to be made, so they asked Gung Chongqing to deliver it. The leader close to the Su family particularly liked tigers and collected related paintings, figurines, and carvings. Over the years, that leader had helped the Su family a lot, and previously, they couldn't express their gratitude due to the circumstances. Now that things had relaxed, they found this jade tiger among the recovered items, and Su Tiqian thought it would be a good gift for the leader. This jade tiger came from a batch of items from Haishur. 2 months ago, Lu Chongjing had gone to Haishur on a secret mission and accidentally uncovered some unexpected leads. Following those leads, he managed to intercept a batch of cultural relics that were to be secretly sent abroad. Although Su Mo didn't say anything, Lu Chongjing had guessed that those items had likely been taken by his wife first. After returning, he casually mentioned this, thinking that if Su Mo wanted to retrieve some items, it would be a good opportunity. Upon hearing this, Su and Mo shared the truth with him and took out a dozen items, saying that Lu Chongjing had learned they came from the Su family's secret chamber and had brought them back. They didn't dare take too much since Lu Chongjing only had one suitcase and couldn't hide many items. Su Tingda and Su Tingqian didn't suspect anything. They just advised Lu Chongjing to be careful next time and not take risks that could affect his future. After all, they had already received compensation from the state, and if others found out, it could lead to accusations of misappropriating state assets. His future wouldn't be affected since there was no issue. It was just an excuse they used. Geng Chongqing put the items away and asked the kids about their recent activities. Just as they were answering, they suddenly heard someone calling for Geng Chongqing outside. Upon hearing the voice, Geng Chongqing frowned, told the kids to stay inside, and stepped out. Editor Chiu, what do you need from me at this hour? Geng Chongqing opened the door slightly, standing at the threshold without inviting her in. The visitor was Chiu Xiuyu, the matchmaker introduced to him by his former boss a few years ago. Back then, she was just a reporter, but now she had been promoted to editor. A few years ago, Chiu Xiuyu pursued Geng Chongqing for over half a year but failed to win his heart. She had her pride and eventually gave up. After returning to the capital, she started dating someone introduced by her family and got married. However, her ex-husband's family was problematic. During the crackdown in '76, most of them were arrested. She had little affection for her ex-husband, having married him under pressure from her age. Once the trouble arose, she quickly divorced. Last year, she learned that Geng Chongqing had moved to the capital and felt it was fate. She divorced and he moved to the capital. Wasn't that destiny? Although she was divorced, she came from a good family, was beautiful, and had a good job. Geng Chongqing was on his first marriage but was already 36. She felt they were a good match. So, she started pursuing Geng Chongqing again. Geng Chongqing found this annoying. If it weren't for his former boss's sake, he would have wanted to send her far away. His old boss's family had a long-standing friendship with the Chiu family, and he didn't want to make things awkward for his old boss. I want to discuss the new economic report with you. I found that Chiu Xiuyu was not foolish. Every time she came to see Geng Chongqing, she had serious business to discuss. We can talk about this during work hours tomorrow. Geng Chongqing interrupted her. This is urgent. I went to your office first and learned you were home, so I came here. Geng Chongqing waved his hand, cutting her off. It's not urgent. We can publish this in a few days. I'm already here. Just take a moment to discuss it, so I don't have to come back to the office tomorrow. I have a lot of work to do too, Chiu Xiuyu said, tapping her foot impatiently. I didn't expect it to be so cold today. It's freezing, Deputy Minister Geng. Let me in to warm up, she said, reaching for the door. Geng Chongqing blocked the door with his hand. If you're cold, hurry home. The last time he let her in, she overstayed until nearly midnight, and he was about to lose his temper. Deputy Minister Geng, why are you so afraid of me? Am I going to eat you? Chiu Xiaoyu's expression darkened. She wore a wool coat that didn't keep her warm, and she was indeed cold. I'm not afraid of you. I just think it's important to be proper and avoid misunderstandings. It's late, and I'm a single man. It's not appropriate to let a woman into my home. Chiu Xiuyu's face stiffened for a moment. I'm here for serious business. We can sit and discuss it properly. I'm not worried about what others think. Editor Chiu, I have something to do tonight, so it's not convenient. Please leave. In the future, if you have work, come to the office instead of showing up at my home unannounced. Geng Chongqing firmly dismissed her, his tone impatient. The kids were inside, and he didn't want after returning home. Chiu Xiuyu asked around about Geng Chongqing's situation today. She felt relieved to learn that 2 of his nephews had come to visit. She remembered the 2 little babies she had met when she interviewed Geng Chongqing in that remote place. Time had flown by, and those kids had grown so much. Naturally, Chiu's mother heard the news about her daughter's bold actions and came to advise her. Xiuyu, since Geng Chongqing is not interested in you, just let it go, she said. Her daughter was great in many ways, but her love life was worrying.
Why?
He doesn't have a partner, so I still have a chance, Chiu Xiuyu argued. After traveling abroad with the delegation a few times, She believed her views were more advanced than others. But he clearly doesn't like you. One day, he will come to like me, Chio Suyu said, her eyes filled with determination. Such a man, if he falls in love, would treat you with great care and devotion. Chio's mother sighed, Suyu, just give it up. You two are not suited for each other. He is a lonely man without parents. Mom, your thinking is outdated. So, what if he has no parents? Don't be so short-sighted. Look at his achievements. How many people can reach the position of deputy minister at 36? Chio's mother was momentarily speechless. She only wanted to persuade her daughter to give up. She knew Geng Chongqing was exceptional, but he was too good for her daughter. Initially, they had been supportive, even encouraging the relationship, as having such a son-in-law would benefit their family. Unfortunately, Geng Chongqing had no interest in their daughter, and they were too dignified to pursue him relentlessly. But this time, it seemed their daughter was more determined than ever, often finding ways to interact with Geng Chongqing. Now, many prominent families knew that she was chasing after him. This situation had even displeased old Nye, Geng Chongqing's former boss, who had mentioned it to her husband several times, asking them to manage their daughter. At first, old Nye had high hopes for Chio Suyu, otherwise, he wouldn't have introduced her to Geng Chongqing. He felt it was a pity that they didn't end up together. However, after Chio Suyu's divorce, he changed his mind. It wasn't that he looked down on divorced women, but when her family faced difficulties, she quickly divorced, which seemed cold-hearted. Such a woman could only share wealth, not hardship. Who can guarantee a smooth life forever? Old Nye was relieved that they didn't end up together, otherwise, he might have harmed Geng Chongqing. But unexpectedly, Chio Xiaoyu had turned around and pursued Geng Chongqing again. Old Nye was surprised to see the girl he watched grow up acting so foolishly and regretted it deeply, which is why he repeatedly hinted to Chio Suyu's father. Feeling resolute, Chio's mother decided to speak firmly, Suyu, I know what you're saying, but that's exactly why you two are not suitable. A few years ago, when he was still in a small place and you were unmarried, he didn't think much of you. Now that he has a bright future and you're divorced, he is even less likely to be interested. Her harsh words felt like a slap to Chio Suyu's face, causing her expression to momentarily darken, but she quickly regained her composure. So, what if I'm divorced? Many women abroad have divorced and married high-ranking officials. You're just old-fashioned. After all, some people have been married multiple times and still marry important leaders. Chio Suyu pursued Geng Chongqing not only because she genuinely liked him, but also for her own reasons. In her social circle, she had always been the best, but after her divorce, she faced a lot of gossip. As someone with high self-esteem, she couldn't tolerate it but wouldn't confront them like a shrew. They laughed at her divorce? Then she would marry someone even better than them, proving them wrong and showing that even as a divorced woman, she was still far superior. So, Geng Chongqing was her best choice. Suyu, I'm just looking out for you. If you two end up together, that's great, but if not, it will be harder for you to find someone good later. Suyu, you're already 30. It's time to find a suitable partner, get married, and have kids. If she waited too long, it might be difficult to have children. Chio Suyu's face darkened further. Mom, mind your own business. I know what I'm doing. With that, she pushed her mother out of her room. Seeing her daughter unyielding, Chio's mother gave up on persuading her. This child had always been strong-willed. She would have to learn from her mistakes. After arriving at the airport, Lu Xiaolin waited for just over half an hour before meeting the two little ones. Lele spotted Lu Xiaolan from afar and waved happily Annie. Lu Xiaolan hurried over, took the luggage from their hands and smiled. You've grown. Stronger. It had been over a year since they last met. Lu Xiaolan took the two kids back to the school, first checking them into a room at the guest house. Then she returned to her dorm to pack her things and went back to stay with the kids. Lu Xiaolan had finished her exams yesterday, and now that the kids had arrived, they could go home. The next morning, the three of them bought train tickets and headed back to Shuangshan City. Since learning that the kids would return home for the new year on their own, Li Wei felt a mix of emotions, happy and excited, yet nervous and worried. She was thrilled to see her beloved grandchildren but feared something might happen on the way. When she received a call from Lu Xiaolan, she finally felt relieved. Can you believe how carefree the third couple is? The kids are only 7, and they aren't worried about them getting lost, Li Wei said to Lu Qing'an. There's no need to worry. These kids are smart and have seen the world. They won't get lost. Besides, the third couple has everything arranged, so nothing will go wrong. By the way, what did Xiaolan say? Are they staying here or going to the third family's house? Lu Qing'an asked. Xiaolan said to let the kids stay at the third family's house, and she would go over to keep them company. It would be quieter there. Li Yue pouted, recalling how hurtful the eldest daughter-in-law's words had been last time. Then I'll go over there to warm up the Kong and the fireplace, Lu Qing'an said as he stood up to leave. I already did that early this morning, Li Yue replied. Then I'll go take a look. Lu Qing'an still got up and left. As he passed the door, he ran into Lu Xingjuan. Father, it's snowing. Where are you going? I'm going to the third family's house to check on things and warm up the Kong. We'll be back comfortably tonight. Why not stay here? You could sleep in the same room as Xiaolan. If they were over there, they wouldn't be able to see if anything happened. Xiaolan said she would go over there to keep them company. Lu Qing'an waved his hand. Lu Xingjuan felt a bit awkward. He remembered the argument with Lu Yuji and felt angry, embarrassed, and disappointed. Xiaolan and the others must have been hurt, and from now on, any packages sent back would only include the elderly's share. In the evening, the army transport truck brought the 3 of them back. Li Wei had arrived early at the brigade office, and when she heard the sound of the truck, she quickly came out. Seeing the 2 little ones get off the truck, she rushed over, grabbing one in each hand. Oh, my dear grandsons, I really missed you. Are you cold? Did you get frozen? I made lamb soup for you. Let's hurry home and warm up. Saying this, she took one child by each hand and headed home. Lu Xiaolan thought, Mom, can't you see I'm carrying 4 bags of luggage by myself? Lu Qing'an quickly came over to help Lu Xiaolan with 2 bags, and the father and daughter followed behind to go home. Once at home, Li Wei told the 2 little ones to go to the living room, where the fire was burning and it was warm. She then went to the kitchen and brought 2 bowls of lamb soup to them, each filled with tender lamb meat. After putting things down, Lu Xiaolan joked, Mom, what about me? Don't I get any? Go on, you're grown up now. You don't need me to help you. Get it yourself from the pot. It had been snowing for the past few days. In the afternoon, Lu Boming visited a few elderly people in the brigade. When he heard the truck, he knew his great-grandchildren were back and hurried home. Seeing everyone back, Li Wei decided to set the table for dinner. For dinner, they had noodles, lamb soup, and a chicken. Half of the chicken was cooked with mushrooms for tonight, and the other half was saved for chestnuts tomorrow. Since last year, the rules had loosened, and families could now raise more than 3 chickens. Most families could keep 6 or 7, but they were cautious not to raise too many, fearing they might be accused of capitalism again. However, being able to raise 6 or 7 chickens greatly improved the farmers' access to meat. They no longer had to wait all year to eat meat just 2 or 3 times. They could now kill a chicken every couple of months without issue. During dinner, Lu Qing'an asked the 2 little ones, Did you feel scared coming back by plane? Lele shook her head, not scared. Mom arranged everything, and the soldiers on the plane were very nice. Very good. Lu Qing'an smiled. Even though everything was arranged, it still took courage and knowledge. Children of their age in the brigade wouldn't dare to take a bus to the county, unlike his 2 grandkids who bravely flew back from the south to the north, crossing most of the country. You started school this year, right?
Yes.
What scores did you get? 97 in Chinese and 98 in math, Lele replied. Lu Qing'an frowned slightly. He had seen the first-grade textbooks in the brigade, and Lele could recognize numbers even before she could speak. The first-grade math should be easy for her. Why did she only score 98? Was the city's curriculum harder? Did you not read the questions carefully? First-grade math should be very easy for you. Grandpa, we're in 3rd grade now.
What?
You're in 3rd grade? Didn't you just start school this year? Lu Qing'an was surprised. Did he remember wrong? We skipped a grade. The teacher said we mastered the first and second grade textbooks, so we went straight to third grade. Leilei's answer shocked not only the three elders, but also Lu Xiaolan. The news about Enan and Leilei skipping a grade hadn't been mentioned in Su Mo's letters, and Lu Chongzheng, who only praised his wife and not the children, hadn't told the family, so they were unaware.
What?
You skipped a grade? When did that happen? Lu Xiaolan asked. We skipped 3 days after school started.
Oh.
Good, haha. Once Lu Qing'an realized, he laughed joyfully. His grandkids were making him proud. Earlier that day, he had read about a child prodigy who was admitted to university at 13. Now it seemed his grandkids were also exceptional, starting third grade at 6 and potentially entering middle school at 9. If they continued to excel, attending university at 13 would be possible. The Lu family had produced a prodigy. Lu Qing'an was very happy all evening. After sending the kids back to their home, he hummed a song on the way back. Li Yue stayed with Lu Xiaolan at Lu Chongzheng's house that night. The two little ones slept in the east room, while she and Lu Xiaolan slept in the west room. Once settled, after the kids fell asleep, the mother and daughter lay on the Kong in the west room chatting. Mom, did my sister-in-law come back by herself, or did my brother go to pick her up? Lu Xiaolan asked. After Lu Yuji and Lu Xingjuan had a fight about Lu Fengqin joining the army, she returned to her parents' home, and Lu Xingjuan didn't go to pick her up. Lu Yuji stayed at her parents for more than half a month, and even when Lu Xiaolan returned to school, she still hadn't come back. Her parents brought her back and even apologized to me and your father, Li Yue said. Old Lu and his wife were indeed straightforward people. Did she cause any trouble when she came back? She won't start influencing Arya again, will she? What's there to cause trouble about? Now that Daya has also joined the army, Arya and Guodong go to school by tractor. Plus, she always favored Daya and Guoqiang, so Arya was never close to her. Don't underestimate Arya. Your grandfather said that the most sensible one in their family is Arya. This girl is doing well. She ranked second in her class during the final exams, so she should have no problem getting into high school. Now your brother is also starting to pay attention to Arya. Let's hope he doesn't pay too much attention and spoil her, Lu Xiaolan said. Li Yue gave her a light slap. Silly girl. Your brother is not a bad person, just easily influenced. He tends to agree with things he hears without thinking. Recently, your grandfather has been pointing things out to him, so he should be more aware now. I used to think your second sister-in-law was the troublemaker, but I didn't expect your sister-in-law to be like that too. What's wrong with my second sister-in-law? Nothing much. Ever since Zhao Juxiang had her incident, your second sister-in-law has been more obedient. Maybe she's been spending time with her fourth sister and has become clearer-headed. Lu Fubao started dating someone before the new year, and I heard they plan to get married after the new year. Really? With Zhao Juxiang like that, someone still wants to marry into her family? Li Yue laughed. Zhao Juxiang only causes trouble for her daughter, but she treats her son very well. Lu Fubao knows he can't say no to her. He has also grown up. I heard the girl is his middle school classmate. She was married before, but her husband was abusive, so she divorced. Lu Fubao ran into her while shopping, and they started talking. She has visited our brigade twice, and I saw her once. She seems like a nice person. Xiaolan, look at her. She has been divorced, yet she is dating and planning to remarry. You're not young anymore. If you meet someone suitable at school, you should consider dating.
Li Yue advised earnestly.
Lu Xiaolan listened in silence for a while, then finally made up her mind and said, Mom, I'm in a relationship. You can't be disappointed in marriage just because you've been divorced once. Li Yue was still talking when she suddenly realized what Lu Xiaolan said and sat up straight.
What?
You're in a relationship? Who is it? Where are they from? What do they do? Seeing her mother so excited, Lu Xiaolan felt a bit shy. Li Yue noticed her reaction and urged, Come on, tell us. You've been hiding this from your mother. How long have you been together? Is he a classmate from your school? If he were a college student, would he mind that Xiaolan is divorced? I didn't mean to hide it from you. We just started dating and thought we would tell you later, Lu Xiaolan explained. His name is Ding Zicheng. He's from Haisher and is currently studying at university in Jing City. Li Yue was surprised. He's in Jing City? How did you two start dating? Let me explain. We met when we were in Yangcheng. He would come to visit during the holidays. Lu Xiaolan shared how she met Ding Zicheng and how their relationship developed. When they were in Yangcheng, Lu Xiaolan and Ding had only a distant acquaintance, with little attention paid to each other. The real change happened when they volunteered together in Tang City. At first, they just looked out for each other in an unfamiliar place. Gradually, they began to admire each other's qualities and became good friends, though they hadn't thought about romance at that time. Afterward, they went to different universities. Because of their shared volunteering experience and their mutual desire to support Tang City after graduation, they started writing to each other. Through their letters, they discovered they shared similar thoughts and values. Their correspondence became frequent, with letters arriving every few days, and feelings of love began to blossom. Recently, Ding wrote to Lu Xiaolan expressing his feelings and asking her to consider dating him. Lu Xiaolan liked Ding but hesitated because of her divorce. Now that he had made his feelings clear, she wrote back, explaining her past and her concerns about possibly not being able to have children, asking him to think it over. Ding already knew about her divorce and didn't mind. From what he knew of Lu Xiaolan, she was not at fault in her marriage. As for the possibility of having children, Ding was not too concerned. Having been with Zhang Zhen for a long time, he had learned to be carefree about marriage and children. What he liked was Lu Xiaolan. Having children was not a big deal for him. Of course, if they did have children, he would be happy. After receiving her letter, Ding immediately called Lu Xiaolan to share his thoughts and reiterated his past experiences in the cattle shed, asking if she minded. They both accepted each other's pasts and established a romantic relationship. Initially, during the winter break, Ding wanted to visit Lu's family, but Lu Xiaolan asked him to wait until she spoke to her family first. He's a good person with ambitions. He's studying architecture and wants to be a great architect. He said his designs must withstand an 8.0 earthquake to help more people. Li Yue didn't understand much about this, but she picked up an important detail. You said he used to stay in the cattle shed at Lijiao? Yes, but he's fine. He just doesn't want to accuse Uncle Zhang because he owes him a favor and was there to take care of him. Did your third sister-in-law's parents also stay in the cattle shed? Yes, Uncle Su and Aunt Mo were there for a year before moving to Yangcheng. Does your third brother know? He probably does. Lu Xiaolan's voice grew softer. She felt she might have said too much. Of course, her brother knew. Ding mentioned that her brother often secretly brought them food back then. Li Yue felt uneasy. The in-laws lived so close, yet her son and daughter-in-law hadn't said a word. In the end, it came down to not trusting them as parents. She believed she hadn't treated Xiaoma unfairly. Seeing Li Yue's expression, Lu Xiaolan quickly added, Mom, if they didn't tell you, it was for your own good.
Who knows how things were back then?
If we told you, it would just give you more to worry about. If you had gone to Lijiao and accidentally revealed something to the wrong person, who knows what trouble could arise? I don't even know them. How could I reveal anything?
Li Yue replied irritably.
If your brother had told you, you would have secretly gone to check them out. If you did, those with bad intentions would have noticed, Lu Xiaolan said with a knowing look. Li Yue paused. If she had been told, she might have indeed gone to see what her in-laws were like, and if she could help. After all, they were family now. She couldn't just stand by if they were in trouble. You can't say anything while you're there, but once you're back in the city, you can share a bit, right? Mom, staying in the cattle shed is a painful memory for many people. As their children, how can they talk about their parents' suffering? I knew about it when I was in Yangcheng, but I didn't tell you. It's their privacy, and if anyone should say something, it should be Uncle Su and Aunt Mo. Besides, you haven't had a chance to meet them in years. Li Yue considered this and seemed to agree, letting out a huff and falling silent. Seeing this, Lu Xiaolan quickly changed the subject. Mom, do you want to hear more about Ding? Li Yue perked up. He doesn't mind your divorce, but what about his parents? Ding's parents passed away years ago. They met during a famine and had no other relatives. His only family now is Uncle Zhang. He considers him a close family member. Li Yue nodded, feeling sympathy for him. Though it felt a bit unkind to think this way, it was better that he had no parents. Her daughter wouldn't have to face a difficult mother-in-law. Xiaolan had suffered a lot under Fang Chunfang. What about Uncle Zhang? Will he? Uncle Zhang is a good person who respects others. He's never been married, so he won't interfere, Lu Xiaolan replied. That sounds good. When will you bring him over to meet us? Li Yue thought it was important to meet him first. Not only that, but she also needed to call Xiaoma to get her opinion on him, to see if he was suitable. After all, Yang Jingming was someone Xiaolan chose herself, and she still had some concerns. At the same time, Ding Zhiqing returned to Yangcheng. During his time working at the library, he read many books on architecture and developed an interest in design, which is why he chose that major in university. Zhang Zhen helped him find a good mentor at the Design Institute. During breaks, he followed his mentor around and rarely came home. This time, he took a flight back for a few days to see Zhang Zhen and to discuss his relationship with Lu Xiaolan with Lu Changzheng and Su Mo. After Xiaoding told Su Mo about his relationship with Lu Xiaolan, both Su Mo and Zhang Zhen were very surprised. They hadn't noticed anything before. Once Xiaoding shared the story of how they met and fell in love, everyone understood that they started getting close after going to Tang City, which explained why they hadn't noticed anything earlier. Since both young people had feelings for each other, they naturally offered their blessings. Zhiqing, what are your plans? Are you going to date for now and talk about marriage after graduation or what?
Zhang Zhen asked.
He had no children, and Xiaoding had stuck by him during tough times, taking care of him for so long that he considered him like a son. A couple of years ago, they even recognized each other as godfather and godson. Godfather, I'm thinking that if Xiaolan agrees, I'd like to visit her family after the new year and propose, and maybe have a celebration there to get the marriage certificate, Xiaoding replied.
Great.
You young people should communicate well. When the time comes to propose, I'll go with you. Proposals need an elder to be involved, Zhang Zhen said happily, a smile on his face. Zhiqing would be 30 after the new year. If he hadn't followed Zhang Zhen to the cattle shed back then, he might already have children of his own. After returning to Yangcheng, he had thought about finding someone to introduce him to a partner, but he hadn't planned on it himself. Now that he was with someone he liked, how could Zhang Zhen not be happy? He was already thinking about what to prepare for the proposal to show their seriousness. Lu Xiaolan was indeed a good girl, and with Sumo's connection, it was important to make a good impression. Xiaoding, my Xiaolan is a good girl, so you must treat her well. If you dare to make her sad, I won't let her marry you. Lu Changzheng was away on a mission, so Su Mo took on the role of the protective sister-in-law. Don't worry, I will treat her well, Ding Zhiqing promised earnestly. I believe in you now, but who can guarantee the future? If you have other thoughts later, remember your promise today and don't hurt her, Su Mo said seriously. It wasn't just her bragging as a sister-in-law. Lu Xiaolan was genuinely a kind and good girl, except for her mistake in marrying Yang Jingming. Don't worry, that day will never come. Su Mo nodded and didn't say anything more, leaving the rest for Lu Changzheng to handle when he returned. The next day, Li Yue found an excuse and called Su Mo early in the morning to ask what she thought of Xiaoding. Su Mo gave an unbiased account of the situation and concluded, Mom, someone who would rather sacrifice their future than betray their conscience and point fingers at their leader, even caring for those in the past, is someone worth trusting. Okay, since you and your brother-in-law think highly of him, I have nothing to worry about, Li Yue said, feeling relieved. They were the most successful in the family, and if they approved, it must be good. After asking about some details regarding Xiaoding, she hung up and went to the supply and marketing cooperative, where she bought a bag of pears, a bag of apples, and some egg cakes. Just as she left the cooperative, she ran into Fang Chunfang, who was there shopping. Fang Chunfang's face darkened upon seeing Li Yue, but since Li Yue was in a good mood today, she didn't argue and walked away smiling. Seeing Li Yue like that made Fang Chunfang unable to hold back her disdain, muttering under her breath, "What's there to be proud of?" So, What if he's a college student? He still can't get married. Lu Xiaolan would be 27 after the new year. Unfortunately for her, Li Yue was downwind and heard her muttering, immediately responding, "People say good things come to those who wait. My Xiaolan has potential. She can't just marry anyone. She's chosen a college student, and after the new year, my new son-in-law will be visiting." Unlike some people who are in such a hurry, they still don't have a grandchild to show for it. Li Yue's words hit hard. Fang Chunfang was furious, but didn't dare confront Li Yue, especially since she had heard that Lu Chongjing's position was rising, and now there were 2 college students in their family. She could only angrily say, "Let's hope he's not a divorced college student with kids in his 30s or 40s. Oh, please don't worry. My new son-in-law is in his 20s. It's his first marriage, and he's well-mannered and respectable. Much better than some people," Li Yue said, then walked away, leaving Fang Chunfang fuming at the entrance of the cooperative. Today's newspaper featured a large article about the prodigy, detailing his growth and achievements, hinting at a serialized report. Not only that, but broadcasts, television, and even the news were starting to cover it. In the following days, the prodigy became a hot topic across the country, sparking a wave of prodigy fever. Lu Qing'an was overjoyed and casually mentioned that his grandson and granddaughter had skipped to the 3rd grade. The 2 kids quickly became famous in the village. After all, the prodigy mentioned on the radio was someone they couldn't see or touch, but the village head's grandkids were right in front of them. Some clever parents immediately encouraged their children to play with the 2 kids, hoping to benefit from the prodigy's brilliance. This sudden attention disrupted the 2 kids' plans. Their main goal for returning home was to focus on Anan's abilities. Their original plan was to stay home, with Lulu providing cover while Anan practiced. Now that so many people were coming to play, they couldn't stay home peacefully. So, the siblings decided to change their approach. Since they couldn't relax at home, they might as well go out and have fun. What do kids like to play? Snowball fights, hide and seek, and playing house. In snowball fights, they could directly interact with the snow. In hide and seek, they could find a secluded spot for Anan to hide in a snow pile. And in playing house, Anan could be the princess, and they'd build her a snow house where she could stay, with only Lulu, the knight, allowed inside. As for what princesses and knights were, rural kids had never heard of them, so it was all up to Lulu to explain. With various stories, Lulu successfully gained a large group of admirers. Every day, he led his entourage around the village, playing and having fun. Lu Bagua watched this and sighed to Lu Qing'an, like father, like son. When your 3rd child was young, most of the kids in the village listened to him too. If your grandson stays here longer, he might become another kid leader. Of course. Just look at whose grandson he is, Lu Qing'an said proudly. Lu Bagua's mouth twitched, thankful he wasn't like that old man, or else things would be quite different. While the 2 kids were having fun in Lijiakan, Su Tingqian and his wife returned to Haisher. Haisher is the main base for the Su family, making things much easier. Su Tingqian quickly obtained the necessary local permits and rented a shop near the Haisher train station just before the new year. Haisher has been famous for many years, so its facilities are generally better than those in Yangcheng. The train station has some good shops for rent, although the rent is a bit high. In Yangcheng, their metal shed only costs 5 yuan a month. But in Haisher, the rent is 50 yuan a month, which is equivalent to most workers' monthly wages. This difference is due to the experience of the managers on both sides. Director Jean, who came from the military, is not very skilled in business. He set the rent based on the area and even doubled it, thinking 5 yuan was already a lot. On the other hand, Director Jean in Haisher comes from a family of business people and knows that shops at the train station can be very profitable. After hearing about a bun shop at the Yangcheng train station, he also wanted to start one and had his relatives handle the paperwork. Unfortunately, they did not have the top-level permits, so the paperwork was not completed. He did not expect Su Tingqian to come to Haisher so quickly. The Su family is powerful and has all the necessary permits, so he dared not raise the rent too much, setting it high enough that even if the Su family earned less, it wouldn't hurt him too much. Seeing this, Su Tingqian directly signed a 5-year contract with him. 50 yuan is fine. After some time, the policies may change and that price might not be available then. By then, this 50 yuan contract would be quite a burden for the other party. Once the shop was settled, Su Tingqian and his wife went to Zhengling's home. They felt guilty about Ho Qingjun losing his job. This time, they planned to open 2 shops in Haisher and find a trustworthy person to manage them. Once things were stable, Su Tingqian would travel between Haisher and Yangcheng. They preferred Ho Qingjun for the job. First, to repay a favor. Second, Ho Qingjun is capable and they have watched him grow up. They trust his character. When they arrived at Ho's house, they shared their plans with Ho Qingjun and asked if he wanted to join them. Qingjun, I won't hide it from you. The situation will change soon, and this business can last long. Otherwise, I wouldn't dare to ask you to join. I plan to open 2 shops in Haisher, but I can't stay there long term. These shops need someone to manage them. If you're willing, I'd like you to take charge. I'll start you at 80 yuan a month, and if business goes well, we can raise it later. Besides the salary, you'll also get 2% of the profits as a bonus at the end of the year, Su Tingqian said. That 2% is quite a bit. The 2 shops in Yangcheng make nearly 3,000 yuan in profit each month, and after stabilizing, the Su family shop now earns around 1,800 yuan a month. Based on the profits from Yangcheng, the year-end bonus could be over 1,100 yuan, which is even higher than the salary. Ho Qingjuan's brother, Ho Qingcheng, was among the first to return to the city after the news about the educated youth was announced. Su Tingqian helped him get back. He hasn't found a job yet and is still at home. Ho Qingjun thought about letting his brother go, but then he realized that policies can change, and if they stop allowing work, Qingcheng would be out of a job again. So he said, "Okay, Su uncle, I'll join you. Since Qingcheng is back, I can pass the job to him. As for the bonus, let's skip it. An 80 yuan monthly salary is already quite high." Zhengling was just an ordinary worker, earning only 36 yuan before. Ho Qingjun took over her job, starting at the same salary, but he is capable and has worked hard for years. Last year, he was promoted to deputy workshop director, earning 66 yuan. Although private benefits aren't as good as in factories, Su uncle's offer of 80 yuan makes up for the difference. Ho Qingjun was quite satisfied. The rules can't be ignored, the bonuses must be given, Su Tingqian said. If you want the horse to run, you must feed it well. While Ho Qingjun is not the type to slack off once he receives a fixed salary, once he gets involved and understands the business, who wouldn't want to earn more? It's better to lay out the terms from the start, so others know their efforts won't go to waste. The more they do, the more they earn. Ho Qingjun wasn't sure how profitable the business would be, thinking it might only bring in a couple of hundred, so he didn't dwell on it. "Su uncle, when do you need me to start?" "The sooner, the better," Su Tingqian replied. Su Mo and the others start school in early March, and he needs to set up the 2 shops in Haisher before then. "Okay, I'll transfer my job to Qingcheng after the new year, and once that's done, I'll join you," Ho Qingjun said decisively. After finalizing the arrangement, Su Tingqian discussed the upcoming plans with Ho Qingjun. After Su Tingqian and his wife left, Zhengling and Ho Qingjuan's wife showed their disapproval. "Qingjun, why not let your brother go? You've worked hard for years to become a deputy director, and giving the job to Qingcheng seems like a waste. The Su family's business is just starting. It might be better for Qingcheng to take it." Ho Qingjun interrupted, "Mom, the food factory job is stable, and it's perfect for Qingcheng. Su uncle's business carries some risk, and we can't predict the policies. Besides, Qingcheng wouldn't be able to handle Su uncle's business. Su uncle and Aunt Mo thought of our family when they had good fortune. We can't let them down. It's better for me to handle it personally." At first, he thought it was just about selling things, but after hearing Su uncle's plans, he realized there's much more at stake and higher expectations. Qingcheng wouldn't be able to meet those. Qingcheng went to the countryside right after graduation, lacking social experience and work skills, so he wouldn't meet Su uncle's requirements. Zhengling agreed, and didn't argue further. The Su family can find the right people for their needs. Just on the street near the villa, Many of their former workers live there. It doesn't have to be her son. Bringing someone in is just about maintaining good relations and repaying past kindness. The 3-day New Year holiday passed quickly. On the 4th day of the New Year, Ho Qingjun took Qingqing to the food factory to transfer the job. The handover was quick, and within 2 days, Ho Qingjun was free. During those 2 days, Su Tingqian went to Nanjing Road, the busiest area in Haisher, and secured a shop for 1,000 yuan. That shop originally belonged to the Su family, but was given to someone close to Su Zhongli. When someone heard Su Tingqian was looking for a shop, they brought the property deed to return it to him. Su Tingqian accepted it, but paid them 1,000 yuan at market value and completed the transfer paperwork. With the shop secured, they needed to repaint it to make it look clean and hygienic. Su Tingqian assigned the renovation to Ho Qingjun while he and Mo Yuru handled the workshop matters. They chose one of the villas as a workspace and had Uncle Lu find a few skilled pastry chefs from the old workers' street. And Mo Yuru began training everyone to make pastries. Su Tingqian focused on building connections and obtaining procurement permits for various raw materials while also looking for clever salespeople. After much effort, on February 23rd, the 2 shops of the Su family in Haisher officially opened. 3 salespeople were hired, 3 pastry chefs, 1 chef, plus Uncle Lu who manages the studio, and Hu Qingjun, making a total of 9 employees in Haisher. After the news of the educated youth returning to the city came out, the Su family saw an opportunity. They worked to expand the hiring quotas. As long as they could help solve the employment problem for returning educated youth, even hiring dozens would be overlooked by the local government. Thus, all 3 salespeople were returning educated youth, and they were familiar faces, including the son of the chef. The chef used to work at a state-run restaurant but wasn't happy there. When he heard his son was working as a salesperson at the Su family and that they were looking for a chef, he decided to leave his job and join his son at the Su family. After all, his family had a history of working for the Su family. In Haisher, everyone knew each other, unlike Yangcheng where wages were paid daily. Here, they were paid monthly. The pastry chef earned 50 yuan per month. The chef earned 80 yuan per month. The salespeople earned 30 yuan per month plus a 1% commission. Uncle Lu earned 60 yuan per month, and including Hu Qingjun, everyone had 4 days off each month. Both shops in Haisher displayed the signs Su Family Food Shop. After opening, Su Tingqian and Mo Yurong took turns managing the shops and quickly figured out their daily earnings. At the train station, daily earnings were about 150 yuan, while on Nanjing Road, it was slightly better at around 180 yuan. Both shops sold the same items. The food in Haisher was different from Yangcheng, offering items like soy sauce duck, braised meat, marinated chicken, marinated pig's trotters, and drunken crab. The train station shop had enough space to sell more. Combined, the 2 shops had a gross profit of about 180 yuan after covering costs. Trust those you hire. If you doubt them, don't hire them. Su Tingqian always did the accounting with Hu Qingjun, as this would be his future responsibility. After a week, Hu Qingjun was secretly amazed. With such profits, his share of the earnings was higher than his salary. Uncle Su, should I lower my share? It seems too high. No need, just take it. I told you work with me, and I won't shortchange you. Su Tingqian waved his hand. Hu Qingjun felt touched. Don't worry, uncle. I will take good care of the shop. Su Tingqian patted Hu Qingjun on the shoulder. Work hard. These 2 shops are just the beginning. We will open more. If you have the ability, they will all be yours to manage. Hu Qingjun's eyes lit up. Every man hopes to achieve something great. That night, Hu Qingjun couldn't hide his excitement and shared the news with his wife. His wife, Mei Xiuqing, was surprised. The shop makes that much money? Why don't we open one? I can quit my job, and with Mom's help, we can manage. Hu Qingjun was speechless. Are you crazy? Do you think opening a shop is that easy? Do you have the permits? Without permits, it could be shut down before we even start. Do you have a storefront? Do you have enough ration tickets to buy flour and meat? Mei Xiuqing felt a bit embarrassed. She just thought it would be nice to make money without considering the details. Do you think others don't know this is profitable? They just can't do it. Don't be fooled by how much others earn. Uncle Sue likely spent a lot behind the scenes. These things can't be calculated openly. Let's not overthink it. Just work with Uncle Sue. He won't shortchange us. You keep your job and I'll earn money for you. And don't tell anyone about this. If others find out, I might lose my share. Don't worry, I won't say a word, Mei Xiuqing quickly promised. If the share was lost, she would be very upset. Hua Qingjun secretly smiled. His wife was very frugal, especially when it came to money. He wouldn't dare to tell her otherwise. After the Haisher shops got on track, in early March, Su Tingqian and his wife flew back to Yangcheng. While Su Tingqian and his wife were preparing to open the shops in Haisher, several significant events occurred in the country. First, a long-term trade agreement was signed with a certain country, totaling $20 billion in imports and exports. Second, a 10-year national economic plan was approved, laying the groundwork for further reform and opening up. Third, a new leadership team was elected. These reports made it clear that changes were coming. The pace was also quick. Most notably, in early March, in major cities like Jing City, Haisher, and Yangcheng, stores began selling imported Jialing 50 cubic centimeters lightweight motorcycles for 735 yuan. They looked like this, popular in the 80s, and similar to those from the late 70s. Upon hearing this, Su Yuan immediately bought 2 motorcycles, one for himself and one for Su Mo. Riding a bicycle back and forth every day was too time-consuming. His father's large sidecar motorcycle was too bulky, and this lightweight motorcycle was just what he wanted. Su Yuan was handsome and single, and his high-ranking background was well known, making him popular among female classmates. Now, riding such a flashy motorcycle made him even more appealing. When this motorcycle came out, many people went to see it. At 735 yuan, it was nearly 2 years' salary for an ordinary worker, making it unaffordable for most families. Especially since this year, many factories canceled paid schooling benefits, and those who used to receive generous stipends now only got 18 yuan a month. At this point, Su Yuan riding such a flashy motorcycle was like riding a bundle of cash around school, naturally attracting attention. There have always been gold diggers in every era. In the past few days, different female classmates approached Su Yuan to chat. For some boys, this might be flattering, but for Su Yuan, a straightforward guy, it was quite annoying. So, after a few days, he switched back to his bicycle. He claimed the motorcycle was borrowed and returned it to the owner. A month later, another well-off student bought a motorcycle, which eased the attention on Su Yuan, allowing him to ride the motorcycle again. Anna and Amulu had a lively new year in Lu family village. After the Lantern Festival, they took a plane back to Yang City. Tao Peisham was also taking Ma Xiaojun and her child back to Harbin, so he brought the 2 kids along and helped buy tickets to Beijing, without needing Lu Xiaolan to send them off. After the 2 kids returned, Su Mo asked about An's abilities. The training speed was indeed faster than in the south, but not as good as they had hoped. It was only somewhat effective. Fortunately, she had adapted to the pace of life here and no longer pursued speed in training. For her, abilities were just an added bonus, and she didn't have too much obsession with them. Everything was fine as long as it followed a suitable pace. For Anan, mastering skills that would help her survive was the most important thing right now. So, even with only a few days left before school started, Anan took Lulu to report to Commander Su. During this time, the child prodigy craze was growing. Newspapers and broadcasts reported on a new prodigy every few days, giving comprehensive coverage of the first batch of young university students, attracting attention from all over the country. Discussions about prodigies filled the streets. One particularly notable child entered the youth class at just 11 years old, skipping the entire middle school phase, astonishing everyone in the country. After a few days of school, the 2 kids jumped into the 3rd grade, naturally attracting the attention of interested parties. Local newspapers in Yang City contacted the school and parents, wanting to do a feature on them. Especially after learning that the children's mother was the top scorer in the provincial college entrance exam, the reporters were excited, eager to write the story, as if they could already see a new prodigy rising. Sue Mo accepted the interview requests from the media because she needed to break the prodigy label attached to her children. At this time, information in the country was scarce, and many things were easily exaggerated. This prodigy craze was, in fact, a leap in talent cultivation, driven by a rush for quick results. History had shown that many students from the earlier youth classes did not have good outcomes. She did not want her children to be caught in this distorted current and become victims. Moreover, the professions the two kids would pursue in the future were not suitable for excessive exposure. Sue Mo discussed this with Commander Sue, who would clarify the situation while applying pressure to the media to reduce their focus on the children. As expected, when the reporters learned that the kids were able to skip grades because Sue Mo had been teaching them first and second grade material for the past 2 years, and that although they excelled in the third grade, they were not top students, some media outlets backed off. Others, more curious, privately investigated and realized things might not be as they seemed, but then received warnings from higher-ups, and the matter faded away. Some clever ones understood they might be dealing with state-secret talents. Since they were the country's secret weapons, they naturally wouldn't pursue the story. The years 7 and 8 were a time of change, testing, and frequent events. In the neighboring ungrateful monkey country, various provocations began, with a worsening attitude towards our country. In early March, Liu Chongjun led a team to the border to fulfill their duty of protecting the nation. In early April, the film Looking Home was released early in the country. The film's release caused a huge reaction. Some people were furious to see a film depicting sold girls, protesting on the streets with banners and posters, demanding to criticize this pornographic film. Due to the intense public reaction, relevant departments cut some scenes and continued the screening. Stopping the screening was not an option, as this was a trial, a way to tell everyone that the train moving forward might be taking a new track. Subsequently, the film Certification and Pursuit were released, creating a significant impact on the domestic film industry, which had only shown model operas for 8 years. The clash of various ideas prompted the propaganda department to seek new changes. During these events, the Sue family's business continued to thrive. By the end of April, their third store in Yongcity opened, using the arcade where Sue Yuan had previously lived, simply renovating the first floor. In Yongcity, they also hired 3 returning educated youth as salespeople, offering the same pay as in Haisher, a base salary of 30 yuan plus a 1% commission. Sue Mo was also preparing to go abroad as an exchange student. To strengthen ties with countries around the world and improve the university's educational standards, the country decided to send some students and exchange students abroad for learning and exchange in the second half of the year. As the top student in German, Sue Mo was naturally among those selected by the country. Since the resumption of college entrance exams, the country had considered sending talents abroad for study, but the selection process needed to be very careful, which is why it took until this year to finalize. After all, the country faced a significant talent gap, and nurturing talent was not easy. Thus, a lot of effort went into the selection process, with rigorous background checks in addition to the challenging exams. Someone like Sue Mo, whose husband was an officer and whose children's parents were both in the country, with excellent academic performance, was practically a chosen exchange student, as such individuals would never run away. The school had basically reserved a spot for Sue Mo, but she felt hesitant. With tensions rising with neighboring countries and a war expected to break out next year, Liu Chongjing had been mostly at the front lines, with little time to return. If she left now, the 2 kids would be without their parents. Although the kids were independent and didn't need much supervision, there was still a difference between having parents nearby and not. Seeing that Sue Mo had not made a decision, the school teachers came to ask if there were any difficulties at home that they could help with. Ultimately, with her family's support, Sue Mo chose to become an exchange student for a year. Sue Mo's exchange school was in West Germany. At this time, Germany was not yet unified, divided into East and West. East Germany was under Soviet control, practicing socialist planned economy. West Germany was under American, British, and French control, practicing capitalist market economy. West Germany had a higher standard of living and more developed industry compared to East Germany. In her second year, Su Mo began to focus on business German, and her exchange was mainly to learn Western corporate management concepts. The autumn semester in West Germany starts in October, so students going abroad or on exchange programs usually leave by early September. After everything was settled, Su Mo wrote to inform Liu Xiaolan and Liu Boming about it. For Liu Xiaolan, Su Mo is not just a sister-in-law but also a close friend. Since she is remarrying, she naturally hopes Su Mo can be there. Previously, Ding Zhiqing had discussed with Liu Xiaolan that he would go to Lijiakan to propose at the end of August and hold a banquet afterward. Now, to accommodate Su Mo's schedule, they moved the date to early August, allowing Su Mo to return home and rest before going abroad. With enough staff hired, Su Tiqian and his wife no longer needed to handle everything themselves. Having some time, they realized that it had been a long time since they met their in-laws, even though their daughter had been married to Liu Changjing for a while. So, in early August, they went to Lijiakan with Zhang Zhen and Su Mo. Of course, they flew there. Although the tickets were not cheap, they could afford it, and saving time was more important. Upon arriving in Harbin, they first went to the guest house where Ding Zhiqing was staying, and he was already waiting to meet them. In Ding Zhiqing's room, Su Mo noticed a large box with several wooden slats nailed to it for protection. "Zhiqing, what did you bring?" Su Tingqian asked. "I bought a television as a bride price for Xiaolan. Her family has everything else, so I thought a TV would be nice for the elders to enjoy," Ding Zhiqing replied. "That's very thoughtful.